Whoop. Talk.
Mic check. YouTube, what's up? What's going on, everybody? YouTube, what's up?
Go ahead. That's what's on my mind. Some of you niggas are straight little bitches. I want you to make sure you like and subscribe. Hit that like button. Let's go. We got a very highly anticipated interview today. I'm so sick you should call me the flu. I just took a trip. I was off the shrooms. I think it was a trip, but I've been in the mood. Baby, cool that attitude. Don't be so rude. Just take those clothes off. I want to see you know. Y'all niggas not on my altitude. Once moved, then send me the damn launch and latitude.
Take the link and share with everybody you know.
Fucking magnitude. Step back, cause a real nigga is quick to grab the tool. Shawty, get me lit. Shawty, get me lit.
SpaceX by the manual, what's up?
Shawty, get me lit. Baby girl, just tell me roll my spell.
Ta-ta.
Shawty, get me lit.
Hey.
Shawty, get me lit. Shawty, get me lit.
One more?
We're gonna go one more.
This shit is not even warm. How yours get like that? What are you doing?
It's that military shit. They just know how to survive.
Why my shit is not warm? What are you doing? Gotta activate it. What am I supposed to do? Blow on it? No homo. It says air activated. This is supposed to be on. I don't know. No, this shit is not hot.
And you ain't got to tell me that it's
And so, you know,
Always the melon.
What's up, everybody? We see you out there. Please keep commenting. We're going to post them up there.
This is the manual. Don't wanna let me go, featuring Gemini Jinx. This ain't the album. Go get it right now. What's up?
She know when I pull up, it's a vibe. A vibe that can't maintain. She said it's crazy how my written rate of mine.
Drop in the comments. Let us know where you from, where you reppin'. If Indiana's in the building, say what's up. If Cali's in the building, say what's up.
Yeah, why you started
I heard a song today that reminded me of Indiana. I'll tell you about it.
You should know by now that every season is my season. Hey, man, I'm still ballin', so they still reading.
Okay.
They still preaching.
Yeah, they
Florida's in the building, what's up? NYC in the building, what's up? CT, what's up? Jersey, what's up? Let's go.
Yeah.
Say what?
Okay.
Some of the big keys.
I got niggas trying, man. I talk a lot.
Should have been a pause.
Supernova, man. I'm scorching hot. What's up with that face you got? You looking strong. Oh, I wear the pants right here. You must forgot, okay.
Everybody from Wisconsin, what's up?
Like anything.
London,
I
what's
ain't
up?
really trying to hear what you gotta say.
Iowa, what up?
You could keep it rolling, baby. Be up on your way.
Kinda cool.
I don't really
Appreciate everybody in there, out there.
I remember when
Right
she
into
was
us.
so better in our pictures. When you toxic and in love, that's one hell of a nature. Or maybe it's really me. I'm faded off the liquor.
Zach will be on at 10 o'clock. 10
Yes,
o'clock,
sir.
10 o'clock.
He is a man of his word. Shout out to that man.
Yes.
He is a man of his word.
For real. You know what's crazy? Zach has responded, and we set this up faster than other people I've reached out to get on the podcast that I personally know. I've never met Zach in life.
Really?
Yeah, I've never met Zach in life, and people I've personally known, I reached out to them to get on the podcast. They said, yeah, obviously. But
Mhm.
there's obviously also been nothing. And Zach, he's just like, yeah, come on the next live. Came on and we about to do it. So
That's
Yeah,
crazy. Thank you.
shout out
Thank
to
you.
him
like
for
that.
doing that. Word.
We're going to thank him once he gets on here.
super professional, upstanding individual. He immediately got on it. Yo, what I gotta do? What we doing? This date? Back and forth. Boom. Set up. And now we here. Got about another almost 15 minutes till you get here.
18 minutes.
18. All right, you being specific? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
18 minutes. What's up, fellas? How y'all doing, man? Before we even get into before Zach gets in, man, how was your weekend?
I've been good.
How was your weekend out there too? Everybody put in the chat if you had a good weekend.
Yeah, I've been good. I didn't really do nothing too crazy. Relax. I played a lot of Sims. Been addicted to that for the past week. I'm actually wild. I need to chill out. I saw how many hours put in, and I was like, yeah, I need to chill, bro. I need to chill. It was getting too crazy, but outside of that, I was really just relaxing this weekend.
That's good. That's good. Family's good. Grandma's good.
Yeah, everybody good. Oh yeah, I did have COVID. I was recovering from that. It wasn't, this time wasn't as bad as like last year, December. Last year, December, I thought I was on my deathbed. This time, I just had a stuffy nose and like a sore throat, stiff neck, pause. That's about it.
Fair.
Not bad. It's just like you don't know if you got that RSV or fucking.
I mean,
the
yeah, that
flu
is
at this
true. I
point
didn't
in
go
time,
get, I didn't
so
go
it's
get
like-
tested. I just got better.
Yeah, we're in a triple demic, right?
Yeah,
That's
triple demic.
Triple demic.
Yeah.
demic. We running a
It's
2-3
three
zone
shit.
on our ass, boy. We don't know what to do.
Speaking of running, bro, I fucking ran my first like 5K on Sunday. That shit
Hey.
5K?
Health is wealth.
You was fucking with it, or you was?
that shit was light.
How many miles is that?
3 miles.
3 miles.
3 miles.
How what was your time?
Well, I could have did it in like 25, but I was waiting for my daughter. Me and my daughter did it.
So how long?
40.
Damn.
45. But she walked most of it.
Nah, yeah.
I left her.
25 is good though for like an old man.
Facts. That's what I said.
I'm just thinking of like Marine Corps brackets.
I thought it was gonna be so much harder than what it was. I made it to halfway, and like I was like, all right, cool. I could do this shit. I could do the whole thing easily. But I stopped. It was like for the girls, girls on the run and all that shit. And then it was a lot of us out there. A lot of parents out there running with their kids and all that shit. The shit was cool as shit. My daughter was like, don't do it. You're not gonna make it. She was like, you old. I'm like, nah, I'm gonna do this shit. And I ran this, and I accidentally put on an album. I put on the Rick and them album on.
Mm-hmm.
So I ran that shit. I forgot that I was running with my daughter. I left her. I waited in the front and like waited before we got into the thing for like good 15, 20 minutes before she came. And then I ran it, and then I ran the rest with her inside and crossed the finish line with her.
That's valid. I mean,
Yeah,
that's
cool.
good, man. Let's give you a round of applause. Let me find a round of applause.
I'm not gonna lie to you though, my thighs hurt.
That's good. It's good to feel pain.
Hurt.
Good to feel pain. That's a good pain.
My thighs was. I woke up the next day like, oh, today. Like, yo, this pain is no joke. No joke.
What's a good time for a 30-year-old?
Yeah, what's a good time?
So like for example, in the Marine Corps, I think like for my age bracket, I was like 18 to 25, and our time was like 27 minutes. Anything over 27, you failed for a 3 mile. So it only goes up as you get older. Like you get more time, obviously.
Yeah.
So.
All right, so let me not say 25. I probably did it in like 35. Okay. But we did it in like probably like say like an hour because she walked. Her friend was sick too. Are we vaccinated? I am. I believe he is.
I am not.
And he is not.
I'm also the one that was sick. So it's not me being sick post-vax. It's just me being sick because people got sick before vaccine.
Oh, we going there.
Ooh, we about to have a good one.
Going there.
We are.
Yes. I love those combos.
Hackable. I hope not.
I mean, y'all part cyborg type shit.
Like, do I have the Neuralink?
No, they saying like because might be chipped in the vac, so I might be hackable.
What if you vaccinated? Like Kanye.
Vaccinated?
Yeah.
You might be part hackable. It'll probably it's probably like when you download a file type shit, and then like at 50% it fails. It might be like one of those things.
Oh, I didn't even know what that meant.
I'm trolling, bro.
Oh, I was with you. I was with you. What's up with you, man? Everything was good with you this weekend?
Yeah, I watched a lot of interviews this weekend. I watched a lot of the Pivot. So shout out to the Pivot podcast. I watched the Jay Williams interview. I watched the Deontay Wilder interview. I watched the Wallow success Wallow interview. Just say Wallow, and I learned a lot, man. Just about like more about like the black male plight here in America. Like what black men are like going through like mentally. Like they had like real like in-depth discussions just about like mental health and like the lowest parts of their lives, especially like with Jay Williams. Like I didn't even know he was in a real bad accident that like he almost died. And but
yeah, when he was on drugs, right?
I don't know if he was on drugs at the time, but like just long story short, he got into a real bad accident. But the way he was exposing that truth, it was like super in depth, and I definitely appreciated those conversations and great questions. And you know, Wallow, he's like the hood prophet. He's the guy that did the time, come back. He's willing to tell a story, and like just the way the answers he was giving to these questions was just amazing. So I didn't even get to like my regular Netflix. I usually do like one Netflix doc a weekend. I didn't even get to that. Just all interviews, man. I'm locked in. I'm loving these interviews that I'm seeing here and on other shows. Other than that, I mean, my weekend is just learning shit. Like now it's like, how much did I learn? How much work did I put in? I actually started drinking a lot more lemon water. So that's my morning routine now. I get up, 50 push-ups, lemon water with honey. Hot water with lemon and honey. I drink that, 50 push-ups, shower, all the other stuff, get ready for my day. And I think I've been feeling better since I've been doing it. Been feeling better since I've been doing it. And that's pretty much my weekend. Okay. Yeah.
So real quick, I know that Zach is here already.
He's here already?
Yeah, Zach is already here.
Okay.
I think we should just go on. Let's just bring him in.
Okay. Man, put in the chat if y'all ready to see Zach, man. Let's go. Yes, sir.
What's going on, Zach?
How you doing, man?
Doing well. Thanks for having me on.
We can't hear you. Make sure that the it says allow the mic.
Very good. Oh,
It looks like it's all on.
Hold on 1 second.
You got headphones?
Yeah. I got you here.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Sir.
We can hear you now.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I was gonna say it looks good on my end. Yeah, thanks for having me on.
How you doing, man? How was your weekend?
Working away like always. So yeah.
Let's give him a proper interview. A proper introduction.
Yeah, man. Let's get this party started. This is a highly anticipated interview, so I got to make sure he gets the just due introduction that this man deserves. First, this is an educator, content creator, someone who is doing a lot of teaching in a way that is helping people understand very complex topics, having very complex discussions, someone who is pushing thought, someone who is galvanizing a community of people, who is consistently dropping content after content after content, is a up-and-coming media conglomerate, someone who we are honored to have on our platform. We are here to be sponges, to learn from the knowledge that you are willing to give us. Without further ado, put your hands together for GematriaEffectNews. Zach, make some noise!
Yeah. I appreciate that. Is your audience familiar with this subject at all, or is this new material?
This is new material.
So me personally, I mention it a lot on the panel when it comes to different things that just happen in media, because I talk about a lot of truther topics. But for the audience and everybody else, for the most part, they're like babies to this information.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, see, I'm gonna have to like learn. I have no idea.
Okay. Did you guys want me to just jump into it, or did you want to ask me questions?
It could go either or. We really wanted. I really wanted you to like. You could just jump into it, kind of give the basis of what it is, and then
Uh-oh. I lost them. I don't know. Somehow I lost their feed. I'm going to wait till they come back before I say anything. I can tell the stream's still going. It's just they disappeared.
Are we good? I'm sorry. That was
Okay, you guys are back.
Yeah,
Yeah, I lost you for a minute.
the battery. No, it was us. The battery actually came out the camera.
Okay.
Oh man, it's freezing.
It's the
Yeah.
Gematria gods.
Yeah, so I mean, you could go in a little bit about it to start us off, like what you would tell like a novice, I guess, and then I guess we'll ask you questions after that.
Sure. So Gematria, where it comes from is Jewish mysticism, Kabbalah. Kabbalah has multiple texts. One of the most notable Kabbalistic texts is called the Book of Formation, or in its original name, it's the Sefer Yetzirah. But if you open that book up, it's not a very big book. Right in the opening page, the first paragraph, it says, God created the world with numbers, letters, and words. And it's sort of like Genesis 1, where God speaks the world into existence over numbered days. So I became interested in this subject because I saw something going on in the world with number rituals, and I couldn't put my finger on why. I was looking for the answer to why did there seem to be so many numerical rituals in media and sports and entertainment. Why did I keep seeing the same numbers over and over on the screen, whether it's a movie or a news story? And I was looking for the answer, and finally I found this book, Manly P. Hall's The Secret Teachings of All Ages. And that book talks about a lot of different things, but he's got one page in that book where he brings up the subject of gematria. And he says in the English language, every word is a number, and there's two ciphers you should know. The alphabetic order, A is 1 up to Z is 26, and then the alphabetic order with the rules of numerology, where A is still 1, B still 2, C still 3. Where it would change is when you get to J. J is the 10th letter. If you take the numerology of 10, it becomes 1 plus 0 is 1. K, the 11th letter, would be 1 plus 1 is 2. Up to Z, the 26th letter would become 2 plus 6 is 8. So you're just using the alphabetic order, but making each letter a single-digit number. And I started going back through just history and news stories and applying this code to see if there was anything there. And I realized right away that there was definitely something there. And of course, the main event that happened that really got me seeing that there was something to number rituals was September 11th. Of course, the national emergency on 911. And I was only 18 years old when 9/11 happened, but I started to look into it right away, and I recognized that 33 years before 9/11 happened in 1968, World Trade Center construction began. 911 was made the national emergency dialing code. George W. Bush, who was the president at the time, graduated from Yale in Skull and Bones. 2001, A Space Odyssey came out. Boeing debuted their jumbo jetliner. The New York Jets had their only Super Bowl winning season, which kind of fit in with how after 9/11, you had the Patriot Act and then the emergence of the New England Patriots, who'd never been a good football team before. And again, I was looking to why 33 years. Why was 33 a number referenced so much in the news? Why did all those things happen 33 years before 9/11? When I discovered gematria, I recognized words like New York, masonry, secrecy, order, federal, false flag. They all have that gematria 33. And of course, 9/11 was a false flag operation. George W. Bush, remember the secret society that identifies by a number, Skull and Bones. The alumni of that are Bonesmen, which also equals 33. And of course, he graduated in 68, that same year that all those things went into motion. And he was in his first year of the presidency when 9/11 happened. But yeah, just this gematria subject, when I first learned about it, I was looking for answers to things like 9/11, but then I realized this knowledge is applying to what they're doing every single day in the world of news, what they're doing in the world of sports, what they're doing in the world of entertainment. And I've been educating about it now for almost a decade. August of next year, will be 10 years of teaching about this online. So was that a clear explanation of what gematria is and sort of where its relevance comes from?
No, that was thorough, and appreciate you for that, Professor Zach. We gonna definitely give you that title. That you gonna leave with that title tonight, Professor Zach. So I guess before I want to learn more about like you as the person outside of this subject. So where did you grow up? What was your upbringing like?
Sure. I grew up in Portland, Oregon, and I would imagine my upbringing is like a lot of Americans. I didn't grow up in the best neighborhood. I had hardworking parents. My first 2 years of education, my parents had me go to Catholic school, even though we weren't Catholic. It's because they had free care all day. They dropped me off early in the morning and picked me up late in the evening. And I didn't realize how much I liked it in Catholic school until I got put into public school in second grade. I had a teacher in second grade, Mrs. Hanson, and I still remember she'd tell me I smelled bad, and that hurt my self-esteem as a child that took baths and showers. But I always had nuns who taught me in kindergarten and first grade, and they were sweet ladies. And then first teacher I had in second grade, she was anything but sweet. And it was that same year that I entered public school where I feel like my worldview kind of shifted. We moved neighborhoods. So the first neighborhood we moved when I was 7. Until I was 7, my sister and I were the only white kids that lived in the neighborhood. And when we moved to poor middle class neighborhood, but we weren't the only white kids around anymore. And it was an interesting neighborhood. I had new neighbors. I had a police officer for the first time who was a neighbor, and ironically, their last name of the police officer family was Cop. And I had a Mormon. I'd never met Mormons before. We had a Mormon family across the street, and the neighborhood that I grew up in was supposed to be the worst neighborhood, but all of our neighbors were so friendly, and I got along with the kids. When I moved to this new neighborhood, just strange experiences. I still remember being a child. The police officer family, for example, they had a son that was about a year and a half younger than me, and I still remember the day we were out in the front yard throwing the football, and I threw him a pass, and he didn't catch it, and hit him in the face, and he ran inside crying to his dad, and his dad came out, and he choked me. He picked me up by the neck and said, "Don't you ever touch my son again." I just, when we moved to this new neighborhood, I had all these negative experiences. And I'm just thinking back, I feel like in a lot of ways, it kind of set me on the path that I was on. Just mistrusting of authority. Anyhow, by the way, just with regards to that pattern of 33 that I was just talking about, order, secrecy, federal, masonry, another word that equals 33 in that list is police. And if you pay attention, all throughout this nation, police stations and Masonic lodges in close proximity to each other. In fact, I now live in the smallest town I've ever lived in my life, and in the same building is the police station and the Masonic lodge. But anyhow, I moved when I was 7. It was supposed to be a nicer neighborhood, but just had some really interesting neighbors that kind of woke me up to maybe some of the things that were off-putting about this world. And by the way, just with regards to masonry, and Mormonism, the Mormon faith is founded by a Mason, Joseph Smith. And if people don't know this, the founder of Masonry and Brigham Young, who's probably the 2 most famous Masons, they died in suspicious ways 33 years apart. But growing up, though, in the neighborhood where I moved to, there ended up being a lot of children that lived in that neighborhood. And I realized that as a young age that I liked helping out other kids. I liked teaching them how to ride the bike and play sports and, pass the ball and dribble and shoot a basketball. And I think in that time in my life, I realized that I like educating. I like helping out others. And initially out of college, I didn't go into education, but I always had this idea inside that I wanted to teach. And fast forwarding through life, when I got out of school, the real estate market was booming in the mid 2000s. And I had a buddy that worked in real estate, and I was working in real estate, and I made good money in real estate. But the whole time I was doing it, I felt like I wanted to educate. I wanted to go back and work with children. And so I eventually got out of real estate. I went back to school. I got my teaching certification. I ended up teaching in the Seattle area, in the south side of Seattle, at a school, Van Asselt, for people who are familiar with the Seattle area. And I did that for a few years. And I really enjoyed teaching, but I did not enjoy the education system. And I put in a lot of time in the years I was there. I'd come in early every day. I'd stay after every day. I tutored students in my classroom. I tutored students in other classrooms. It ended up creating animosity with other teachers because they thought that essentially, I think they felt the pressure since I was coming in early and staying late. Maybe they should be too. And not everybody wanted to do that. But anyway, I ended up getting pressure from the principal to back off and do a little bit less and maybe just work with my own students and not students from other classrooms. And that kind of put me off because, I was there to help people. Anyway, that caused me to transition to a private school. And I only taught for a year in the private school. And my last year in teaching was the 2011-12 school year. I was in Washington State. 2012 was the year recreational marijuana became legal. And as much as I like teaching, I just saw that the profession was corrupted, and I decided to go on a different path, start my own business. I started a medical marijuana delivery service. I was about a year and a half into that when I found Gematria. And that became kind of my hobby, just doing research, documenting, presenting a little bit, running a blog. And the business was in operation from 2012 until November. Well, I guess the last full day was November 14th, 2014, because November 15th, 2014, what happened on that day? Well, here, just to let you know, the month before, so November 15th, 2014, my business was destroyed. But what happened just weeks before that was in Washington State, we had a reported mass shooting in the news. If anyone remembers this, it was the Marysville Pilchuck High School shooting. The Seattle Seahawks ended up wearing the emblem for that high school shooting on their helmets for the rest of the year. But I actually went to the campus to try and do some investigating because that number 33, they were saying how the mass shooter was obsessed with the number 33, and he had this real big fixation with 33. It was one of the core details in the story, and I'd been documenting this pattern of 33 in government incidents, false flag operations, if you will. And that mass shooting was right before our vote in Washington State. It was right before the vote. And the vote for gun control, that is, so that shooting was used as more reason to further restrict the Second Amendment in Washington State. And anyhow, I went to the school to try and get some answers and had some questions, and it was impossible to get anyone to talk about anything. But it was just weeks after that, where on November 15th, the grow that we had built was sabotaged, destroyed. All the plants were stolen. Everything was damaged and broken. The safe we had for the operation, because you can't put your cash in the bank. Anyway, safe was stolen. All of our product was stolen. Everything was stolen and destroyed. The entire business was sabotaged. And again, it was in such close proximity to investigating the shooting that had just happened nearby me. It felt like the two things were very much connected. And again, it was a great business in the period of time it lasted. But after it was destroyed, again, I was pretty much out everything because I lost all the cash. I lost everything. I lost all the product. And ultimately, what it did is I had to figure out something new to do, and I had a lot more free time on my hands, and I put even more time into this research. And essentially, I haven't stopped doing this research and presenting, and just been doing this full time pretty much since that happened in 2014, which it's hard to believe that was already over 8 years ago now. So I guess that's the quick explanation of my life up to now, and maybe just some of the events that, and I should have said in my upbringing. So something I noticed growing up is growing up in the 80s and 90s, I just noticed how targeted the media is towards certain demographics and people with darker skin complexions. I remember the nightly news almost seemed like every night there'd be some story out there about some wanted black man on the news for some crime. I just picked up on all this racism at a young age. And the thing I didn't say about my sister is my sister's 12 years older than me. Growing up, she always dated black men. Her boyfriend that she was with for over 10 years, who was like my big brother, he was a great athlete, and he had his life changed because he had a crime pinned on him that he was not responsible for. And I saw how that ruined his life. I mean, he would have been on to academic scholarships, but all of that was ruined. And again, for people who aren't familiar with my work, I spend a lot of time showing how the media systematically, by a code, puts out propaganda to push stereotypes for people of all different groups, for Middle Easterners with terrorism, but especially Black Americans. That there's two numbers that we've identified, which we can talk about, that they use systematically in the news to shame. That's not the way I describe it. Shame and profile Black males, and it's so often with domestic violence, rape, abuse, but it's done by a code. And again, when you learn the knowledge that I'm teaching about, you see why the media, they used to use the phrase a lot more years ago, but they still use every now and then back to your regularly scheduled programming. You learn this knowledge that I'm talking about. You can see how the news is systematic in the way they put out their propaganda and how they attach the same numbers over and over to the types of stories they put out. So hopefully that explanation.
No, that was wonderful. Appreciate that. My next question is, before you discovered Gematria, how did you define like your meaning of life versus how you define it now, since you have access to all this information? Does that question make sense?
It does. I don't think Gematria changed the meaning of life for me at all. Again, I've always thought that I was raised Lutheran. I don't identify as Christian anymore, but that still is kind of my spiritual foundation since I grew up that way. And again, I did spend time in Catholic school, kindergarten and first grade. But again, I do think that people should have service be a component of their life where they're doing something for the betterment of others. And again, help people in need, teach, share knowledge. And these are the things I've always liked to do. Like I said, when I was younger, I always liked to help out the other kids in the neighborhood, especially the younger ones, teach them how to do things, help them out with their homework, show them how to play the sports game, teach them the rules of the game. And, you know, when I was working as a teacher in a classroom, love helping students overcome their obstacles. Also in my life, I've spent time working in group homes, teen homeless shelters, adult homeless shelters. So I've always liked to help out others. And again, when I found Gematria, to me, the reason I like teaching that knowledge is because I see that there is a real agenda to disturb and torment humanity and put people on a bad path and keep people in fear and in a low vibration and fighting amongst each other and you know, stereotyping other groups. I mean, there's so much evil that's ruling over us, and most of this evil is put into our minds through screens. Again, I was 18 when 9/11 happened, and I knew 9/11 was a lie. I mean, it was just such an obvious lie to me. The election of Bush, how it came down to the state where his brother was the governor, all these things were such obvious lies. And again, I've just always wanted to fight back against that evil and help people see what's going on and how we're being misled and how we're being divided and how we're being played for fools. And ultimately, I think until humanity does win that battle, if we can win that battle, we're going to continue to see the same problems that we see see now in the world we live in. So I always wanted to help out others. And to me, putting out this knowledge, and at least in my mind, it is a way to help combat the evil in the world. So I guess I always wanted to live a life of service. And now through finding this knowledge, I've been thinking for a while. I got to admit, after doing this for so long and just watching the world get worse and worse, I'm like, is this the right way? Maybe there's another way to do it. But ultimately, that's always been my purpose, to help people improve their position in life. And at this day and age, help humanity see the light of the tyranny that is being waged against us. Who's responsible? By what means do they operate? Et cetera, et cetera. So.
Well, thank you for your service and all that you're doing and that you've done and continue to do for the community. I'm an educator as well, so I teach ninth grade. I created my own curriculum, but that's a whole nother conversation. But my question in regards to schooling, if you were to create your own school, what would be 5 mandatory classes outside of like the basic reading, writing, math, history that you would want your high school students to take before they graduate?
Oh, man. Here, you just asked me a specific way, but I just want to say that this is what I really think that they need to do with education. I think at the younger age levels, the focus should be on learning to cooperate and have community and the importance of working together and being honest, because we don't have that in society. We're taught to compete, and you see what it is when everyone's just competing with each other. That it's so hard for people to cooperate and work together in our society, and that's what we really need more than anything. We need cooperation. We need caring for other people. So I really think kindergarten and first grade, that should be the focus. Just nonstop conversations, activities to learn to appreciate working together and why that is essential to have a healthy and successful society. And it wouldn't have to stop at kindergarten and first grade. To try and answer your question about 5 additional subjects, I taught 5th grade. So, and what I always did with my 5th graders, for example, I taught every student, I always set up my classroom with this way. I taught about the narrative I would give them is person 1 and person 2. And I'd say, listen, person 1, they have a goal in this world, and their goal is to be successful and do well. And they realize that, sometimes coming to class and the things we have to study, they're not always fun. They don't always seem relevant. They can be boring, but they know that they have to have this mindset of why they want to achieve anyway. And the way I set it up is where I taught in Seattle, it was right next to Boeing. Boeing is in South Seattle, obviously the plane manufacturer, also the weapons contractor. But Boeing is right there. And the students understood that if you work at Boeing, you have a good job. So I would point out to them, I'd give them a real world lesson. I'd say, listen, if you guys go to college, and keep in mind this is a decade ago, I'd say, but if you go to college and you get out of school and you get a job at Boeing, they're going to hire you at $40 an hour. And in a year to 2 years' time, you can have your salary up to $60 an hour working at Boeing, and it can go a lot higher than that. But here's the thing. Let's say you don't go to school and you kind of just drag your feet and you graduate, and you know that you can just get a job somewhere in the neighborhood. You can work at the grocery store, McDonald's. Listen, you can get a job for minimum wage. And at the time, minimum wage was about $10 an hour. And I said, you might be able to work 40 hours a week, but maybe you don't want to work that much. So let's just say you worked 40 hours a week at minimum wage, you make $400. Let's compare that with Boeing. 40 hours at $40 an hour, $1,600. Let's see how that looks over a month. $1,600, 4 weeks, you're making $6,400 a month at Boeing. You're making $1,600 at the grocery store. Let's look at that over a year. Let's look at that over 10 years. Now let's look at that with the $60 pay raise. I would show them this because this is real world to see the difference. And I would make the point to them. I'd say, so this is what you can achieve by putting in the effort now. And I said, think about this. You guys are 10, 11 years old. If you work real hard right now through age 20, 21, by about the time you get out of school, that's the next 10 years, you can be setting yourself up for this future. Or I said you can take it easy for the next 10 years and you can get out of school and then you can get the job at the grocery store. But I said, look at how much longer you're going to have to work as an adult. You're going to be having to work the rest of your life just to pay the bills. And I teach them about cost of living and how much rent is and food. And I'd say, listen, if you're doing this lifestyle and you're smart about things, you can be retiring by the time you're age 50 or earlier, and you can enjoy the last 30 years of your life just traveling. So I said, I would always give my students real world examples of what cost of living was, the difference in planning your life, working hard, having goals, and how you can save yourself a lot of time and stress in the future. And I'd make the point, I'd say, person one, they come in, they're not excited about today's lesson, but they're going to do the best and put in the effort. I learned that I had to do this with the first classroom I came in with because the first classroom I had zero interest in listening to me on day one. So in day two, when I came in, I thought, okay, I got to come with a whole different approach. And I invented this person one and person two thing. And in no time, I had these students buying in. But the point I was making is so much of school, when we were in school, they didn't show us how what we were learning connected to the real world. So again, I think what needs to be in school is a lot more information and classes about learning knowledge and skills that directly benefit your life. How to plan for the future, how to save money, how to not get taken advantage of financially. Because that is a big component of this world that we live in. It is a money-based world. Another thing is nutrition, health and nutrition, how to take care of yourself. I mean, we hardly get any of that. We have health class, but we don't really learn that much about health. So I think that's another thing that should be a huge component emphasized. I mean, and you just take a look around at our society, how many people are obese, how many people are dying from all this preventable disease and illness. So I really think schools should focus more on community, cooperation, and then teaching real life skills that are relevant, that are interesting, that students can actually connect with. And as for the 5 additional classes, I'd have to really think about that, the 5 additional classes, but they would all be things connected to developing real skills that are beneficial. And one other thing I want to say is, the other thing I told my students is, I would explain to them, you don't just have to work at Boeing and go to college. I said, there are other things you guys can do. Maybe you get out of high school and you're burnt out on school, but there's so many options in this world as long as you work hard and stay motivated. And I would explain to them, I said, you don't necessarily have to go to college. You can get out of school, you can get an apprenticeship and become an electrician. You can learn to become a mechanic. And I said, in no time, if you develop those skills and you save up a little bit of money, you can start your own business. And, at the time, electricians were making between $60 and $80 an hour. And so, I mean, a lot of people in 4 years, instead of going to college, you learn to become an electrician. You can have your own business while your friends are getting out of college and having a bunch of debt. You've already got some money saved up in the bank, and now you're in position to, again, make $60, $80 an hour. So I'm curious, though, since you're a teacher, what are the 5 classes that you would recommend?
Damn, great question.
Damn, great question. He took your
I would
question.
No, I was giving myself a little pound in the back. That's all. No, I would say, well, my class, if you're interested in sports, I teach a class called Sports Foundations, and it teaches about the different career opportunities around the game of basketball. So I would recommend that course if you're into sports. I would say agriculture, learning how to farm and live off the land. Financial literacy, like you said, taxes, learning how to do your taxes, learning how to save, invest, budget, all that stuff. A course, I don't know what I would call it, but a course that teaches you how to look within for answers as opposed to trying to seek things from outside of yourself. Like, I feel like we don't know how to get in tune with who we are as people, as an individual. So I would want a course that like kind of teaches that more like along like the meditation line in that realm. I think that's 3. Nanotechnology. I think students should learn about like stem cells, nanotechnology, robotics. I think that's 5.
That's 5.
That's 5.
It is. Yeah.
Yeah. So I will go those 5 right there.
Yeah, I think those are all great ideas, especially the ability to know your idea about living off the land and knowing your terrain and your community. I think that is absolutely essential. That could be life-saving someday. So.
Yeah, I
Someday
think
soon.
Yeah, I know, right?
That someday might come soon.
I want to get into more into the gematria, right? My first experience with conspiracy theories was 9/11. And I was in, I think, the third grade, second or third grade, something like that. But in New York, like from my room, you were able to see the towers like as it was happening. So long story short, we're all in school. Parents are all like trying to rush to school, trying to get their kids out. As kids, we have no idea what's going on. We just excited to get out the building. But then as you get older and you start looking at it, there's like, by the time I'm in middle school, there's like this weird intuition where I was like, that might have not been what the news was portraying or saying this whole time. But you don't know how to project that at like 12, 13, 14 years old. But now as an adult, I've done more research, but I still don't know from this type of perspective, like what was 9/11 and how should we analyze that?
Sure. So 9/11. I mean, look at it as a strategic operation and who benefited from that operation. A lot of people got rich off that. War is money. And, even watching mainstream news back then, 60 Minutes was doing specials on how much the major corporations in this nation were making off the war. Companies like Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola was getting paid $16 per soda can at the taxpayer expense to ship sodas to the Middle East. $16 per can. I mean, think of the profit on that. And it wasn't just Coca-Cola, but war is money. So again, you start to look at the government. Behind every politician is 1,000 lobbyists that represent these major corporations. So there's financial incentive in war. And there's also political, like they say, you can't impeach a wartime president. Bush ended up getting a second term. His political, him and his cabinet all got to stay in office. But that's the way people need to look at it. What was this a trick done on the American people for a strategic reason to start a war that put a lot of money in people's pockets? And then beyond that, what happened when we went over there? We got rid of the Taliban in Afghanistan. And what happened when we got rid of the Taliban? Well, the Taliban had got rid of poppy production because they didn't want opium in their country. They didn't want heroin in their country. So we get rid of the Taliban. Poppy production comes back. Next thing you know, the world is flooded in opioids, from heroin to fentanyl to everything else. And again, that's another strategic component. There was a rumor that Pat Tillman, the Arizona Cardinal who quit NFL to go be a soldier in Afghanistan, that he was going to write a tell-all book about his disappointment with the war and how he was being used as essentially a guard to watch poppy fields. And if you guys remember, Pat Tillman, at first they said he died in combat. And then months later, it came out that he died from friendly fire. And then by the very end, it wasn't really the headlines, but if you're the type of person who watched C-SPAN, you are watching testimony be given about how Pat Tillman was killed from point blank shots to the back of the head, which sounds like an execution. And again, I mean, just all these little stories should tell people of, just how much dishonesty and deception there is in the world. But yeah, 9/11 was a lie to instigate a war. And not to mention, I mean, for people who don't know, go back and look at the members of Bush's cabinet. There was a group they had called the Project for a New American Century. The acronym commonly used was PNAC, Project for a New American Century. But they wrote a document before they even got in power about why they needed to, again, invade the Middle East for strategic purposes. So it's like, okay, so administration gets in who has a motive to launch a war in the Middle East. 9/11 happens. They get the war in the Middle East. And a bunch of money's made. And again, now you have a world just swimming in opioids. And that seems to be again, those are big profits. Pharmaceutical companies are making more money than they've ever made before because of the ongoing policies and agendas and things that just keep unfolding in the world. But yeah, I would say just follow the money. Follow the money. That's usually where the answers are. So,
And
Get that a lot, right? Just follow the money. No, that's something that you hear everywhere you go. Like, just follow the money. If you want to find the trail, follow the money.
but what about like the numbers behind like 9/11? Like, why that date? Like, what's so? I think you alluded to it a little bit earlier when we first started. But like, why
Sure.
that date? Why those numbers? Like, what does that stuff mean?
Okay, yeah. So again, 911 was made the national emergency dialing code in 1968, the same year that World Trade Center construction began. At the beginning, we talked about all the things that went down in 68 that factor into 9/11. In Gematria, there are different ciphers. There's a cipher known as Jewish Gematria, and what's amazing is if you write out Tisha B'Av, it equals 9/11. And what Tisha B'Av is that's the Jewish day of remembrance for the destruction of the two temples, which sounds a lot like two towers. And in that same cipher, Vatican Hill's 9/11, Al-Qaeda's 9/11, a bunch of things that factor into 9/11 equate to 9/11 in that cipher. So there is gematria relevance. In light of Bush being the president at the time and referring to, Bush in his own words referred to it as a crusade. Again, the Crusaders were the Templars who served on behalf of the Catholic Church, Vatican Hill. And Bush was a member of Skull and Bones, the secret society at Yale that's modeled after the Knights Templar, which fits in with the whole Crusades thing. And by the way, they get their symbolism from the way the Knights Templar buried their dead, which was in an ossuary. That word also equals 9/11 in that cipher. But the other thing about 9/11, just on the calendar and in light of the crusade theme, the Christian Muslim thing, invading this Muslim part of the world. Sorry, having a brain freeze real quick. Oh, yeah. Again, 9/11. So that is New Year's Day on the Christian Coptic calendar. 9/11 is New Year's Day on the Christian Coptic calendar. Some historians contend that is Jesus' real birthday. And again, pretty much everyone well, I don't think there's any real debate about Jesus' birthday actually being in the summer rather than when it's celebrated on December 25th, which is the day the Catholic Church has celebrated the sun in the sky's birthday since the year 274 AD. If you look into the Jesuits who have the Templar cross in their logo, their motto is Isus Hominum Salvator, which equals 274 in Gematria, like again how they've celebrated the sun's birthday since 274 AD on 12/25. But again, 9/11, it very well could be Jesus' real birthday. It is New Year's Day on the Christian Coptic calendar. Bush is in office, who's part of Skull and Bones, related to the Templars, talking about this crusade. So there's a theme there with that. And then Rudy Giuliani, who was the mayor at the time, he was the 107th mayor of New York, if I'm not mistaken. And 9/11 happened on his 107th day of his age. And then we invaded Afghanistan on October 7th, 107. Military in Gematria equals 107. And then the day we invaded, October 7th, that's the day leaving 85 days left in the year. The word Templar equals 85. And again, you have Bush referring to it as a crusade. So again, there's spiritual significance to the date. They say those who don't know history are doomed to repeat it. Again, we're on a calendar that's named after a Catholic pope. And again, that's what's amazing when you start to become aware of this knowledge. You see how perfectly they got the chessboard set, how they got the right mayors in place. They got the right birthday for the planned ritual. And yeah, just to make another point for people to know this, look up Operation Amalgam Virgo. That was a simulation done on June 1st, 2001. it was a federal government simulation of Al-Qaeda attacking the United States. And the cover document for that simulation, you can still look it up. It's on the government website in the archive. It's Osama bin Laden's face. So June 1st, 2001, Operation Amalgam Virgo, simulating an Al-Qaeda attack on the U.S., where Al-Qaeda uses cruise missiles to take down strategic structures. And again, I'll tell people to go back and look at those 9/11 explosions on the World Trade Center, because, I mean, we've never seen commercial jetliners crash into a building before, but those explosions are huge. And it looks more like the explosions you would expect from, a military weapon like a missile. But anyhow, Amalgam Virgo was done 102 days before 9/11. And if you look it up in the official documents, they say the 9/11 attack lasted 102 minutes. 102 days earlier before the attack that lasts 102 minutes. And 102 is a whole nother number to get into, but things like Art of War and World War have gematria of 102. Huge number with the Pearl Harbor attack as well in history. And for people not familiar with Pearl Harbor, by Sun Tzu, there's no historical record of a Sun Tzu. There's no proof that a Sun Tzu ever existed, even though that's who that book's credited to. But the reason we know about Art of War is from the Jesuit priest, Father Amiot, who translated the text. And again, the Jesuit logo is the sun, like the author is Sun Tzu. But they did call 9/11 also the new Pearl Harbor. And again, 102 is encoded all over 9/11. It's encoded all over Pearl Harbor. Pearl Harbor happened on December 7th, 127. On 9/11, they said buildings 1, 2, and 7 fell. And then they called the site Ground Zero, which in gematria equals 127. And a lot of people to this day still don't know about Building 7, which fell 8 hours after Buildings 1 and 2. It wasn't hit by a plane, but it fell in perfect demolition fashion. And it had a lot of documents inside that had to do with the Enron and WorldCom lawsuits, who were the two companies that were the two biggest supporters financially of the Bush administration. So how convenient that the cases going on against them lost a lot of evidence, because that's where the evidence was being stored for the cases in that building that fell that day. But again, a lot of people didn't get the Ground Zero reference. Ground Zero was terminology that came out of the Manhattan Project. And of course, the World Trade Centers were in Manhattan. And what Ground Zero meant before 9/11 was the place below or above ground that an atomic, hydrogen, or nuclear bomb explodes. And there was a lot of force in whatever they used, because they turned those massive buildings to dust. I mean, they fell into a pile of dust into their own footprint. You'd think, as big as they were, that there should have been a lot more rubble piled up there, but they turned to dust. And again, that dust dispersed all over New York City. And of course, a lot of people had health consequences because of that. But again, all the clues were there. Manhattan, Ground Zero. What a lot of people also missed was the 93 World Trade Center bombing. By the way, the day of the 93 World Trade Center bombing, the movie with Michael Douglas called Falling Down came out. Falling Down. Eventually those buildings would fall down. And there were articles written at the time how the buildings would have fallen down had the explosives been planted properly. They said that the terrorists planted the explosives so they detonated into the ground instead of upwards, which they were meant to. That was the official story. But the 93 World Trade Center bombing happened right after Bill Clinton became president of the United States, kind of like how 9/11 happened right after Bush became president. And Clinton went to Yale and was likely a member of Skull and Bones, like both the Bushes. See, both of the Bushes admitted to being in Skull and Bones. You do not have to publicly disclose if you're in the society or not. But it is curious that between the two Bush presidencies, you had Clinton in the middle, who also went to Yale, where Skull and Bones is. But anyhow, right after Clinton became president, you had the 93 World Trade Center bombing. And what Clinton did just a couple of weeks before the 93 World Trade Center bombing was he stopped the 50-year program of underground hydrogen, atomic, and nuclear bomb detonations. So they were doing that for about 50 years. Not quite. It was almost 50 years. They started that testing in the mid-40s. It went through 93. just a couple weeks before what happened at the World Trade Centers. And think about it. They said that massive holes were blown beneath the towers. And then for months, they worked under the World Trade Centers. My theory, I guess it's technically a conspiracy theory, but my theory is that's when they planted the charges that detonated on 9/11 that really turned those buildings to dust. Because, again, I mean, if you go back and look at the footage of 9/11, you have to ask yourself, how are those buildings turning to dust as they collapse? The only 3 steel frame buildings to ever collapse from fire in history all collapsed on 9/11. And again, you couldn't say it was because of a plane because the 3rd building wasn't hit by a plane. But all the clues are there. The new Pearl Harbor, the numbers. Oh, and here's the other big one. The World Trade Centers were on the 74th meridian west. 74 is the number that made me realize that Gematria was real. The most simple cipher is just A is 1, B is 2, C is 3, up to Z is 26. If you write out Gematria, it equals 74. If you write out English, it equals 74. If you write out energy, it equals 74. If you write out occult, it's 74. Holiday, 74. Jewish, 74. Again, this comes from Jewish mysticism. There's a big long list of things that are 74. And again, think about this nation's birthday, 7-4. The word killing is 74. 3 of the first 5 U.S. presidents died on July 4th. Adams and Jefferson died July 4th, 1826. And then 1826 days later, Monroe died on 7-4. The word stabbing is 74. Again, we're on this Catholic calendar. The 74th day of the year is to remember the stabbing of Caesar. But anyhow, with regards to the 74, killing, energy, occult, these words also equal 74. Nuclear and weapon. So Manhattan Project, Manhattan on the 74th meridian, the World Trade Center's on the 74th meridian. And lo and behold, what happens on that day? Ground zero is created, terminology that comes from the nuclear weapons program. And then, like I was saying, September 11th, some researchers contend it's Jesus' real birthday. Again, it is New Year's Day on the Christian Coptic calendar, using that same cipher. Jesus equals 74, cross 74, Messiah 74, gospel 74, parable 74. That number is coded on so many huge rituals in history. You guys are out there in New York. This year on Israel's 74th birthday, you had the Top shooting while O.J. Simpson was still 74 years old. That store was opened on his birthday. And I'd been saying for years, I said, just wait until Israel's 74th birthday. They'll have some huge, nasty ritual. And, they blamed it on a white supremacist. Earlier, I said if you take the alphabetic order with numerology, if you write out white supremacist with that cipher, it's 74. Also in that cipher, if you write out Independence Day, it's 74. And again, you just think about this nation's history. White supremacy, 74. This nation, 74, this nation that was built on slavery with the White House. Again, there's a Jewish documentary called Four Blood Moons, and it's about how there never would have been a United States without Jewish bankers. But again, you go talk to Hebrew Israelites on the street, they'll tell you that their identity was stolen. Again, you look at things like what's happening on Israel's 74th birthday with a white supremacist shooter in a black neighborhood at a top story that had been political from the day it opened. Again, you follow this theme of 74. Not to mention, they said that shooter used parts of the manifesto from the Christchurch, New Zealand shooting from March 15th, 2019, the 74th day of the year. Again, these numbers like 74, 33, and with regards to 33, again, 9/11 happened 33 years after the whole plan went into motion. Of course, that's the age they say they crucified Jesus at, 33. But again, you just follow some of these number patterns like 33 and 74. You see how often they show up in ritual and tragedy. Just very recently, the new King of England, King Charles, on his 74th birthday, we had 2 stories in the news that morning. We had the University of Virginia killings and the Moscow, Idaho, University of Idaho killings, both in the same day. And people didn't get the ritual. Cavaliers, University of Virginia Cavaliers. Cavaliers are those who fought for King Charles in the English Civil War. So on King Charles' birthday, you're hearing about University of Cavalier football players getting murdered. And then Moscow, Idaho. It's spelled the same way as Moscow, like Russia. Moscow, Idaho reminds you of Russia, and King Charles is the first English monarch of Russian ancestry. Oh, by the way, for another 74 word, London equals 74. And one of the details in the University of Idaho killing is that the two of the women who got killed, they had 10 phone calls to a man named Jack. And of course, Jack the Ripper was the London killer, who some historians have traced back to the royal family. But again, 10 phone calls to Jack was part of the story. And Jack the Ripper's last killing was a woman who came out of the 10 Bells pub. And that last murder was November 9th, 4 days before the ritualistic murders of 4 students. 4 is a number associated with death from the Far East, because in Mandarin, Chinese, and in Japanese, you pronounce the number 4 the same as death. And again, a lot of this knowledge that's being used, it's been taken from cultures all over the world. Again, the Jesuits, who wrote Art of War with Sun Tzu, the Jesuits got a lot of their knowledge from studying older cultures in the Far East. But again, those news stories broke on the 74th birthday of King Charles, and it's obvious they're paying tribute. So again, learning this knowledge allows you to gain a major insight into the way that our minds are being played with and manipulated, and how fear is spread, and boogeymen are blamed. And again, a lot of these times, these stories don't make any sense. I mean, at this day and age, they can't come up with any clues for the killer in Idaho. And I won't be surprised if at some point they come up with some patsy. But again, just from having the knowledge, you can see the way the rituals are unleashed day after day. Brittany Griner is another thing we could get. You know what? I just got to make the point about Brittany Griner real quick. Brittany Griner is released from prison. Number 42. She's released exactly 42 weeks after being detained. Not to mention she was detained on Michael Jordan's birthday, basketball related. But exactly 42 weeks later, number 42's released on a 42-date numerology. And then this weekend, we have the death of Paul Silas, who's Jesuit educated, who went to Creighton. And in the Bible, there's the story of Paul and Silas, who escaped from prison. And the reason they were put in prison is because Paul took a spirit out of a woman who was a fortune teller. But anyhow, right after a notable story about a basketball player being released from prison, then Paul Silas dies, where again, you have the story in the Bible of Paul and Silas being released from prison. And here's the thing. Brittany Griner, if you go back and read the headlines from the day, the news broke March 5th. They said she'd been detained on February 17th, but we didn't hear about this until March 5th. If you go back and read the headlines from that day, all the stories will talk about the 144. The WNBA has 144 players. The 144, on behalf of the 144, you'll see this in every story written about Brittany Griner, the 144. So 144 days after the news broke about her, that was the day that Joe Biden negotiated the release, the prisoner swap, who she ended up getting exchanged for. But that was 144 days later. Then Paul Silas just died, while his former Jesuit school, Creighton, is 144 years old. And in Gematria, Creighton equals 144, like the Jesuit order, as does President Biden. All those things equal 144. President Biden, Creighton, the Jesuit order, they're all 144. And for people who don't know, Jesuit Georgetown simulated the election on June 12th, 2020, simulating that Biden would beat Trump 144 days before the election. Trump would refuse to step down, which would lead to deadly violence and chaos in America. So this 144 thing is a huge pattern. But then Paul Silas's son is the coach of the Houston Rockets. People might not have noticed this, but we definitely noticed in our community. Every time Artemis 1, this latest moon mission, was a big headline, every single day, the launch, the day it made it to the moon and began its orbit of the moon, the day it returned to Earth, every single one of those days, the Houston Rockets were about a 10 or 11-point underdog, and they beat their opponent every single day. And we've been talking about how they sync up the Houston Rockets with NASA and SpaceX for years, so this is nothing new. But every single time you had a big story with Artemis 1, Houston won. And the day that Artemis 1 supposedly returned to Earth was the exact same day that Paul Silas died, whose son now coaches in Houston, where Brittany Griner's from. That moon mission ended exactly 144 days after the anniversary of the moon landing on July 20th. Anyway, again, I know I'm throwing out different number patterns there. We've talked about 33 tonight. We talked about 74. We talked a little bit about 102. But all of these things are important, and they all lead back to the Society of Jesus, the Jesuit order, whose calendar we're on. But again, you just learn this knowledge and you see what they're doing. And here's the other thing. Paul Silas, the day he died, rewind the clock 1 year. 1 year to the day earlier, December 11th, 2021, Georgetown, another Jesuit university, is dedicating their court to John Thompson, who had died in a Jesuit ritual the August prior. So you had a major Jesuit ritual, December 11, 2021, with John Thompson. Then you have a major Jesuit ritual a year to the day later with Paul Silas. There's a lot more to say about all these things. And by the way, the Jesuits just had their first ever Ignatian year, which was their own year in tribute to Ignatius Loyola, the founder of the Jesuits. And who died on the very last day of the Ignatian year? Bill Russell died. Bill Russell died on July 31st, which is the day in history Ignatius Loyola died. 31 is the 11th prime. The word black equals 11. And we're talking about John Thompson and Paul Silas dead on the 11th of December. We're talking about Bill Russell dead on the 31st, the 11th prime, who won 11 championships with the Celtics. And of course, that was right after the Celtics lost to the Warriors in the finals. And that was one of the easier futures we got to call in recent times, because if you go back last year to December 17th, a year ago, you'll see that the Warriors beat the Celtics in Boston. And the Celtics fell to 7-5 in that game. And of course, all last year you were seeing 75 on the NBA courts. Catholic Church equals 75 in Gematria. But the Celtics fell to 7-5 at home. The Warriors end up winning the finals in Boston, becoming 7-5 in finals, beating Boston. Boston equals 22 like basketball. Boston lost their 22nd championship, or lost in their 22nd championship in 22. And look at the final score. The Warriors won with 103 points. 103 points. Go back and look when they won on Pope Francis's birthday, December 17, 2021 in Boston. They became 10-3 on the road, whereas Boston fell to 7-5 at home. And then when the Warriors won the finals, becoming 7-5 in finals, they also won their 75th road game in playoff history in that game for another 75 and with 103 points. And Jesuits, the plural, in Gematria equals 103 when you just use the alphabetic order. Catholic Church is 75 when you use numerology. For people who are saying, well, how can you script a basketball game to the numbers? There was a video recently put out. Steph Curry, he throws five. He's in the Warriors practice gym. Steph Curry throws five. They're not even like shots. They're like heaving the basketball down the court like a quarterback. 5 shots in a row, the length of the court, right through the rim. And I've been saying it for years. They're using technology in the league to make sure the outcomes are dead on. They got the scores to the point for the perfect rituals. If you guys doubt what I'm saying, look up the footage of Steph Curry draining 5 shots in a row, the length of the court. Nobody. I mean, that, and it's like I've been saying to people for a long time. You ever gone to a Harlem Globetrotters game? How come they never miss? How come they make every shot from half court? They got technology to ensure these outcomes. So anyway, I'm rambling for a minute. Let you guys talk.
First of all,
Woo! Let's go! Let's
your
go!
memory is impeccable. Like, I don't know how you can remember all of that. Was you looking at anything, or that just came off?
I've written books about this. I talk about it all the time. If I go back and listen, I'll be annoyed with myself because I'll be like, how did I forget to say that? How did I forget to say that? But I'm just riffing. That's what I do.
That was you had all of our minds blown for like that whole time.
I like it.
Yeah. Word.
I was telling them about the Brittany Griner thing a little bit earlier. I didn't really go into depth into other words with them, but it's like other words that equal 42, nigger, slavery, February, Jackie Robinson. Like he wears number 42. Jackie, his name equals 42. It's a few things like 42 and 59 is big with black people, but yeah, I enjoy watching him go just ramble.
Yeah,
Like,
me
it's
too.
nice.
Yeah, I was like, I was just thinking.
Man, I'm about to have my students write an essay about this interview.
Shit. You got
Man,
something?
I want to know. I want to know. Do the Simpsons use this shit?
Indeed, they do. They sync up the Simpsons with all sorts of things. I mean, I'm sure you've heard about the Simpsons and its predictive programming. For the record, the name Simpson equals 33, just like all those in the same cipher: masonry, order, secrecy, federal, police, Simpson, another word for that 33 list. And I'm sure, like, you've seen the things with Bart Simpson, with he's going to New York and there's $9 on it, and the World Trade Centers look like the 11. There's a lot of little things I could say about that show. I mean, they put out episodes of The Simpsons that have foretold what the Super Bowl is going to be. So, yeah, there's a lot of shows. It's not just The Simpsons either. I mean, there's a lot of predictive programming in television. Other cartoons too. Family Guy. That cartoon's had predictive programming in it. I'm trying to remember. You remember the other year when the Supreme Court Justice Antonin Scalia was found dead on the ranch while he was out with his hunting buddies? Remember that story? Antonin Scalia. There was an episode. I got to make sure I get the number right here. I'm trying to think for a minute. I know what it is. 522. Okay. So Antonin Scalia dies on the ranch. If you look at, if for people who don't know this, look this up. Antonin Scalia hunting secret society. Just use those keywords. You'll find the article about how he was hunting with a Catholic secret society. I'm trying to remember what the name of the secret society is off the top of my head. I can't remember it, but anyhow, where he died is near years ago. I don't know if you guys remember this, but do you remember when Dick Cheney, when he was the vice president, and he accidentally, supposedly shot his friend while they were on a hunting trip?
I think I remember something like that. I'm not.
I mean,
I'm
it's
not
close to 20
really
years
the
ago
one to
now.
remember.
Yeah, it was probably 18, 19 years ago that happened. But that was a big story while he was the vice president, that he was out on a hunting trip and he accidentally shot somebody with a shotgun. And anyhow, both of these things happen in the same geographic region in Texas. And anyhow, Family Guy put out an episode of Dick Cheney accidentally killing Antonin Scalia while hunting. So this was done long before it happened. Now, again, at the beginning, I told you the two ciphers that I learned from Manly P. Halls. When I started to do more research, I found out that there were other ciphers. There's a cipher where you multiply the alphabetic order times 6. So A is 6, B is 12, C is 18, D is 24, so on. If you write out Antonin, Dick Cheney, he was found with a pillow over his head, pillow, justice, all of these words have the same gematria value of 522. And from the day that Dick Cheney shot the guy to the day that Antonin Scalia died was, I believe it was 522 weeks on the nose. And then I got to go back and look at what it was with the Family Guy episode. Again, I haven't talked about this for a minute, but it might have been the Family Guy episode came out 522 weeks before the Antonin Scalia death, but it was something like that. And there's a movie, The Pelican Brief, with what's her name? The actress Julia Roberts, about Supreme Court justices being killed. They put that same number in that film if you go back and watch it. So again, that's what's amazing about having this knowledge. You can go back and say, like, wow, okay, so that cartoon with that joke was no accident. And wow, it's literally synced up with the day that we end up reading about Antonin Scalia dying. And then Antonin Scalia, remember what they were speculating on? Well, depending on what news you were watching, they're like, did Obama kill Scalia? And of course, Obama was number 44 and Scalia died on the 44th day of the year. But you can kind of see this how they manufacture the stories to create like these divides in society. So you got half of America being like, oh man, is Obama a killer? Is he having Supreme Court justice? But realistically, all this stuff is ritual. And again, you can see right through it if you have this knowledge. Just as I brought up that Sumerian cipher, it's called Sumerian Gematria, where you multiply the alphabetic order times 6. If you write out Michael Jordan, if you write out Kobe Bryant, both of their names are 113 with the alphabetic order. If you use numerology, the National Basketball Association is 113. Coronavirus pandemic's 113. You might recall how the NBA locked down, and then hours later, we heard that the coronavirus pandemic was declared on the same day, 11/3. Kyrie Irving just got suspended recently on 11/3 for supposedly anti-Semitism, which is interesting because in the Talmud, there's a verse, Bava Kama 113a, that says it's okay for somebody who's Jewish to lie to somebody who's not. And there's a whole lot of words connected to dishonesty that are 113. But coming back to the Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant thing, both of their names are 113 when you use the alphabetic order. If you use Sumerian Gematria, both of their names are 678. And from Jordan's last game in the NBA, which was in Philly, Kobe's hometown, to Kobe's last game was exactly 678 weeks later on the nose. And you guys might recall, before Kobe's last season, Daryl Dawkins and Moses Malone, who both played in Philly, they both dropped dead days apart. And it's funny that the day before Kobe died, I put out a video. Before LeBron passed Kobe in points scored in Philly, Kobe's hometown, I explained why they were having the ritual of LeBron pass Kobe in points scored in Kobe's hometown, the numerical significance, besides just doing it in Kobe's city. For people who don't know, Philadelphia in America gets its name from the Bible. There's the Church of Philadelphia in Revelation of the Bible in Revelation 3. And again, King James is what they call LeBron, like how King James had a Bible named after him. And of course, when LeBron won the final for the Cavs, he won it on the real King James's birthday. And for people who didn't get the joke, the son of King James was King Charles. And the people who fought for King Charles in the English Civil War were Cavaliers, like we were just talking about with the Virginia Cavaliers players on this new King Charles's birthday. But again, I put out a video about why LeBron would pass Kobe that day, the numerical significance of it, the greater significance. And in that video, I reminded how, these rituals are sick because people die for these rituals. I was explaining how Daryl Dawkins and Moses Malone died for Kobe's final season. And of course, Moses Malone, he was drafted by the Utah Stars initially. He was the first high school player in pro basketball drafted by Utah. Who did Kobe finish his career against? Utah. Utah Jazz is the only team in the NBA that equals 113. And you might recall the day they declared the pandemic on 11/3, they blamed Rudy Gobert of the Utah Jazz for creating the COVID outbreak in the NBA. And he's from France, like the Jesuits. And the other thing that's 113 is Kobe's retirement poem, Dear Basketball, also equals 113. But yeah, again, you learn this knowledge. You'll never look at sports the same way again. You'll never look at news the same way again. You'll never look at anything in the entertainment industry the same way again. You'll just see how it's all lined up. And it's like, you'll understand why the announcer's always blurting out. They couldn't have scripted it any better. So.
Oh, shit. That was crazy. Yeah. What does that maybe this has nothing to do with gematria, but what does that mean for like numbers that you normally see on all the time?
Numbers that I see all the time?
No, just in general, because I've seen a question in there about seeing a group of numbers all the time.
Like in their everyday life.
Yeah, in their everyday lives. Like, does that have anything to do with anything? Because I've been seeing 22 for like 13 years.
Well, okay, so if like you go to a library, there'll be a section of books, probably depending on how big your library is, on numerology, and there's all sorts of authors that will write about how to calculate the numbers that are relevant to your life, your birthday. Some of them will even talk about gematria, and again, they'll say that you have numbers assigned to you from the day you're born. Just like it's similar to astrology. You're born in a certain sign, you have certain attributes. You're born on a certain date, you have certain numbers attached to you. And again, you start to dissect the numbers that are connected to your birthday, you might see that those numbers are showing up in your life. And it might explain why you keep looking at the clock and there's always some number on it. And you're like, why am I always looking at the clock when it's on that number? The answer could be in understanding the numbers that are attached to your life. And usually those things are unique and independent. And for people who think that stuff sounds silly, I got to admit, when I was first looking into all this and reading information like that, I thought it all sounded silly. I just thought, like, how could that be? I mean, that doesn't really make sense to me. But I was actually not in a library. I was in a Borders bookstore. It was 2013, and I was reading. I forget the name of the author, but he was saying, here's how to calculate your birth numerology. Here's how to calculate the numbers in your name. And I found out that my full name, again, the cipher that author recommended was taking the alphabetic order with the rules numerology, which is the same cipher in Manly P. Hall's The Secret Teachings of All Ages that he says is the more important cipher. And again, in all the years I've been doing it, the majority of my work is in that cipher. Again, alphabetic order, A is 1 up to Z is 26, but you use numerology. So like Z wouldn't be 26, it would be 2 plus 6 is 8. Y, the 25th letter, would be 2 plus 5 is 7. X, the 24th letter, would be 2 plus 4 is 6. So X is 6. So think about that with XXX being 666, infamous number. But anyway, when I found this, I was like, well, if I should be connected to anybody, I should be connected to my parents. So let me see what happens if I decode my mom's full name, my dad's full name, my full name. And I did that, and I noticed my full name equaled 89. My dad's full name equaled 89, and my mom's full name equaled 62, which is a little bit different. But 89 and 62, where they meet, is in numerology. 62 is 6 plus 2 is 8. 89 is 8 plus 9 is 17. 17 is 1 plus 7 is 8. So all of those numbers have a numerology of 8. And then the other thing I noticed, though, when I thought about that for a minute, I was like, well, wait a minute. My dad's name equals 89. I'm 89. And my mom's birthday is the 8th day of the 9th month. So I was like, so we all have a connection to that number. And then I remembered something. I remember this because I remember my dad. My dad thought it was the coolest thing. He has the newspaper clipping. It was from the day after I was born. But if you search right now, if you do a Google search and type in what's the coldest day ever recorded, it'll show you that the coldest temperature was negative 89 Celsius, and it was July 21st, 1983. That's the day I was born. So I was like, how wild is that? I just went back and looked at that. And I was like, oh my God, the temperature that day was negative 89 Celsius. And we're all connected to that number. So once I saw that, I was like, well, maybe this isn't as silly as I thought. And, the other thing I noticed is my dad's birth numerology, his number breaks down to 31 and 4. My birth numerology breaks down to 31 and 4. My mom's is not the same. But then when I saw that, I was like, wait a minute. My best friend is born on March 1st, 3-1. And you know what? Probably the most loyal person I have who's been following me for years, who's come out and flown around and pounded pavement with me, his birthday is also March 1st. And then my other really good friend, he's not born on March 1st, but his birth numerology is also 31 and 4. So again, I looked into all this stuff years ago and I was like, man, there is something to this. So yeah, for all people out there, break down your name, look at your birth numerology, and then see if maybe that's the reason. Maybe you keep looking at the clock and you're like, well, the number I keep seeing is the same number that is my number. I mean, it might be that way.
Man, do you do like those type of readings for people? Like if someone gives you their birthday, can you like?
I don't because I don't know what to make. I'm not great with numerology like that. There's people who really, really study numerology a lot, and they know very specifically like what those numbers mean. And those are the people to go get a reading from. My thing is just following the patterns, just like how I've been explaining to you. I look for the patterns and the manipulation. I guess if I was going to improve my research, it would be understanding the numbers better, that I see them coding over and over. So.
Wow.
I feel like that moment in the Matrix where he asks you, do you want the red pill or the blue pill? And I took the red pill, and I'm like, oh, shit, I can't even look at the world the same anymore. Y'all out here paying taxes, don't even understand the numbers that's going on. Taxes mean this, and you just giving your government the money. This is crazy. Yeah, I'm just like perplexed at this information.
Yeah, it was a hell of a lot to just soak in.
Ever since I like been just watching his videos, just learning it. It's a lot of wild shit, man. That whole Tom Brady last week with the Buccaneers Monday Night Football, that shit was just like scripted to the T. Fucking proved the 6-6, 12. Monday Night Football equals 12, also 33. Final score was 17-16. He had a 13-point rally in the fourth quarter to win the game. 13 is the sixth prime, if I'm not mistaken. There's a lot of crazy shit. Like you could just see.
Can I use this to bet?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Oh shit!
If you guys have the Amazon service, go back and watch the end of Thursday Night Football, because I felt like we were being mocked. I've been teaching about this for years. I call it 35 Thursday. If you spell out Thursday in that most pure cipher, it equals 35. And almost every week, Thursday Night Football is all about 35. So this past week, I loved the Rams. I love the Rams as the underdog because Sean McVay could stay on 35 losses in the regular season, and so could Baker Mayfield, who they said was going to play in the game. And they both did stay on 35 losses. And Baker Mayfield won the game on his 35th pass, the game-winning touchdown. But if you go back and watch Al Michaels, who was calling the game, you know, the clock is ticking down, and then all of a sudden when it hits 35 seconds, he blurts out 35, 34, 33. I mean, just almost seemingly for no reason, because the clock was ticking down. He just did it out of nowhere. But he only said 35, 34, 33. Now, Baker Mayfield's next pass right after that was his 34th. And then there was one more play. The next play was the winning touchdown on the 35th pass. But then what was the score again? 33 points, right? And not the Browns, but Baker Mayfield, who's wearing 17 for the Rams, ends up winning it 17-16. And something else I was loving for the comeback, because with this knowledge, you can take advantage. When you realize it's all number rituals, like we loved receivers with the number 14 in NFL Week 14, but think about what the Rams did. They were down 3-16. They scored 14 unanswered points to win the first game of Week 14. And so we liked receivers with the number 11 on the 11th, receivers with the number 11 killed in the NFL this weekend. They all had a touchdown. Receivers with the number 14 did very well. DK Metcalf for the Seahawks. We thought he was lock city for a touchdown. DK Metcalf scored his 38th career touchdown against the Panthers. Panthers in Gematria equals 38. Panthers are the same team that lost in Super Bowl 38 to the Patriots. They're the same team that lost to Colorado. Colorado is the state that equals 38, plus it's the 38th state in order of statehood. They lost to the Broncos in Super Bowl 50 on the 38th day of the year. That was the golden anniversary of the NFL, hosted by the 49ers, named after the gold rush. Of course, Colorado's up in the mountains where the gold is. But, yeah, I mean, if you want to go back and watch the first ever mainstream media hit piece, or not watch, but read, USA Today's Big Lead wrote an article about me before Super Bowl 50 because I had explained why in that season in October, why Peyton Manning in his 18th season, wearing his number 18, would ride off into the sunset, beating the Carolina Panthers, why Von Miller would be the MVP of the Super Bowl, and why there'd be a Black Panther tribute at halftime. And all of those things happened. Beyonce ended up doing the halftime show and got criticized for dressing up as a Black Panther. But the reason that I knew all those things were going to happen in October is just understanding how sports and news are synced up. That was the year of Black Lives Matter really having the emergence after the Michael Brown shooting. You were having the hands up, don't shoot protests at the games. And what a lot of people didn't recognize is, all right, so here's how it's messed up. Cam Newton became the 58th quarterback to start in a Super Bowl. And I had this mapped out because I counted it all up before. I was doing my research in October. I said, okay, there's been 57 quarterbacks to start in a Super Bowl. If Peyton Manning goes back, that won't increase the count because he's already started. So we need one new quarterback. I said, okay, Cam Newton can become the 58th quarterback to start. Von Miller, because you know it's going to be a defensive game. Peyton Manning was throwing wounded ducks all season. He didn't even belong on an NFL field. I mean, he couldn't even throw a spiral that season, and he won the Super Bowl. That's how embarrassing it was. And if you go back and look at the box score, his first pass of that game was a wounded duck, number 18 to 81 for 18 yards. They couldn't have scripted it any better. But I knew that it was going to be a defensive game. So I was like, watch, Von Miller, who wears number 58, who was drafted one pick after Cam Newton, that will be your Super Bowl MVP. I still remember when if you go back and watch, Cam Newton had the ball knocked out of his hands and it fell down at his feet, but it didn't roll. It just stayed right at his shoes. And he just stared down and just looked at the ball until the other team picked it up. It's like, come on, man. Cam Newton's not going to try to pick up the ball in the Super Bowl. But anyway, the reason it was so important for Cam Newton to be the 58th quarterback to start in the Super Bowl is because the year that Cam Newton was born is the year that Huey P. Newton died. And Huey P. Newton was the founder of the Black Panther Party, who founded the Black Panthers in San Francisco, who was hosting Super Bowl 50. By the way, San Francisco equals 50 in Gematria, like they hosted Super Bowl 50, like how once upon a time they were 5-0 in Super Bowls before they lost the Harbaugh Bowl, and then they lost the Joe Montana Bowl. Joe Montana equals 54, like how his Chiefs beat his 49ers in Super Bowl 54. He wore 19 for the Chiefs. The Chiefs win the 2019 season. But here's what's messed up about Cam Newton and Huey P. Newton. Cam Newton was born on the 131st day of the year. Huey P. Newton died in the same year on the day leaving 131 days left in the year. So Cam Newton born on the 131st day, Huey P. Newton dead on the day leaving 131 days left in the year. And if you write out Super Bowl, it equals 131. Huge number every year with championships. Take a good look at the college football playoff, because there's a lot of 13-1 that could happen in that college football playoff, and it seems to happen year after year in the college football playoff. The word championship equals 131. So does the word Super Bowl. They're both 131. These numbers show up around championships all the time. In fact, before Peyton Manning won the Super Bowl, you could probably still look at the archived article. ESPN put out an article about 131 children in Indiana named after Peyton Manning. It's just like, come on, man. Where did they go count 131 kids in Indiana named after Peyton Manning? So that's how you just see that they're playing games when you learn this knowledge. But here's what else is messed up. Back when I did that prediction, the only two ciphers I knew back then were the alphabetic order and the alphabetic order with the rules of numerology. Just like I learned from The Secret Teachings of All Ages, the book by Manly P. Hall. What I learned it shortly after that Super Bowl. If you run the alphabetic order in reverse and run it in reverse with numerology, it's the other half of the code. What blew my mind, Huey P. Newton equals 131. Just like when you run it in reverse, Huey P. Newton is 131 in reverse. Forwards, his name is 58, like how Cam Newton became the 58th quarterback to start in the Super Bowl. And then all these years later, Cam Newton's in the Super Bowl in San Francisco, where he founded the Black Panthers with the Black Panther on his helmet. And who's he losing to? He's losing to the white Bronco team, right? The white Bronco, this race thing, right? White cops shooting unarmed black people, leading to the protests in the NFL. And then you think about it, what's like one of the most racially divisive things that's happened in our lifetime that involves a football player? O.J. Simpson, right? O.J. Simpson with the white Bronco chase, you know? Just like how this year, I went to Buffalo after the top shooting and educated on the street there, talking to all kinds of people in the community. I spent a whole week there. And I was talking about, I said, look, you guys, look at what they just did at your store with this racism shooting. You have Byron Brown, who everybody knows wasn't really elected mayor in this town, who they put back in here. You have Kathy Hochul, who's from Buffalo. Kathy Hochul was 63 years old. Byron Brown was 63 years old. In Gematria, Buffalo equals 63. So does racism. If you write out Buffalo Bills, it equals 117. That shooting was exactly 117 days before the season opener against the Rams. The same day as the Buffalo shooting, there was a shooting in Los Angeles at Grand Central Market. It didn't get as much attention because the Buffalo shooting was bigger. But Grand Central equals 117. So 117 days later, those teams are opening the season. Buffalo's the Queen City. They're winning that game in L.A. as the Queen of England dies. And by the way, the Queen of England only went to one American football game in her life. and it was back in 1957. She dies the day that the NFL season starts, that ends with Super Bowl 57. Not to mention Kathy Hochul was 57 years, or excuse me, Kathy Hochul was 63 years old, but she's the 57th governor of New York. But anyway, I went to Buffalo to educate about how that store opened on O.J. Simpson's birthday, how the O.J. Simpson verdict, the racially divisive verdict, was on October 3rd, 10-3, just like how at the top shooting they said 10 dead, 3 injured. This is the 103rd NFL season. We predicted at the beginning of the year we'd see the Bills become 10-3. That's exactly what their record is right now. And notice all 3 teams that could become 10-3 this weekend did. The Bills, the Chiefs. Remember how that game ended last year? That crazy game between the Bills and Chiefs. There was like 5,000 yards of offense in the last minute. But and then also the Cowboys game. All those teams became 10-3. And then the big news story in the U.S. that day that all those teams became 10-3 is that the Pan Am 103 bombers being sent to the U.S. on the same day. And that's a whole other thing to get into. But Pan Am 103 is all synced up with 9/11. That's why Osama bin Laden's birthday is 10/3. It's a lot to explain. But like I was saying, just sports and news. Just like how after 9/11, you had the Patriot Act and then the emergence of the Patriots. All of this stuff is connected ritual, and they just keep syncing it all up. So, again, I'll try to be quiet for a minute.
Oh, man, I got a couple of things. One, you made me feel like I can't like Peyton Manning anymore for some reason. That's my favorite quarterback. Secondly, you watch Manifest? Because I feel like your wall has like red lines with like this date and this date and this date. It just goes crazy with like so much shit.
You got the spider web.
Yo, he's got a whole web. You got a whole wall full of webs.
The Bat Cave.
You're referring. I actually haven't seen this Manifest show, but there's a lot of things that show like the red thread connecting all the events, right? We're familiar with this. Do you know where that comes from, the red thread?
No.
So that's perfect. I'm glad you brought that up. So that red thread is a Kabbalistic concept. The red thread in Kabbalah, it's the invisible red thread that connects the events of life. So this is a concept. So whenever you see that in the shows, they're paying tribute to this Kabbalistic idea about how events are connected through the red thread. And again, this is where Gematria comes from, Kabbalah. So your reference there is right on point, and all these things are related.
Shit.
Yeah, this is definitely some great information, and I hope people actually take the time out to go and research some of this stuff and look into it. Shout out to all 77 people in the chat. If you in the chat, definitely smash the like button. Let's continue to run this up. And please subscribe and help us get to our first 1K. We definitely appreciate it. But to further along the conversation, I'm curious about like Michael Jackson. All right, because I'm said on this pod numerous times that let me be careful with my words here. I've said that I don't believe the story that has been told about Michael Jackson and his death.
Hey, I mean, Prince is crazy too. Like
that's even worse. Like that's just I don't know. But
Prince had the "I Would Die for You" song for being like he used the number 4 and the letter U for being 4 and U being the 21st letter of the alphabet. Prince died on 4/21. Like, so
fucking crazy.
It's probably some Michael Jackson too.
Oh, wait. I wanted to ask something before we get to Michael. That's what I wanted to ask. When people say it's scripted, can you identify who they is that are scripting all this stuff that's happening? Because I can't compute that Cam Newton was born to follow this script. So where is this script that people reference? Where is this coming from?
Okay, so who is they? Yeah. All right, here's what my research shows me, because I was looking for this answer too. If you go back to the 16th century, that's when we got on the Gregorian calendar, the same calendar we now use, named after the Pope. In the 16th century, the Jesuits were created as well. And the Jesuits were created to counter the Protestant Reformation. For people who don't know about that part of history, in Europe, people were trying to get out from under the Catholic Church, which the Catholic Church used to rule over Europe. They were the spiritual leader. They were the governmental leader. They were the authority in Europe. So the Protestant Reformation came about trying to get rid of the Catholic Church. The Catholic Church created the Jesuits to stop Martin Luther and the Protestant Reformation. By the way, I know you just asked me about Michael Jackson, but MLK was killed. We talked about everything that went down in 1968. MLK was killed on the 95th day of 1968, right before the Club of Rome was established. The Jesuits were created to counter the 95 Theses, and their leader was Martin Luther. MLK was born Michael, but he assumed the name Martin Luther after the Protestant Reformation leader, only to be assassinated on the 95th day of 68, 3 days before the Club of Rome was established. There's a lot more to say about MLK, but clear Jesuit assassination. So anyhow, Jesuits, 16th century, Gregorian calendar, 16th century, English standardized with the spellings and the vowels that we use today in the 16th century. 16th century, major shift in world history. It wasn't much longer after that. You started having people leave Europe and come over here. And, you know, they were trying to escape the Catholic Church. But again, the Catholic Church wants to control people. So do you think they just let them escape easily? I mean, they could sail across the ocean too. And again, the Jesuits have been in D.C. for longer than the federal government has. But anyhow, who they are the Jesuits. The Jesuits are responsible for modern Freemasonry, which is the most known secret society, which is also large and in charge in D.C. It's known as the Masonic City. So they is the Jesuits. And for people out there who are new to this work, my website is GematriaEffectNews, and I made it free to download my books in ebook format. My latest book, Number Games, 9/11 to, I won't even say the word just because I don't want to get your stream messed up, but my latest book really goes after my first book talks a lot about the Jesuits, but my latest book goes after them even more. So they are the...
It's the thing we just went through for about 2 years. It's about that. I'm pretty sure.
Say it.
Man, we're not afraid. You can say it. If you want, you can say it. Don't feel like you the need to not.
Yeah.
Well, they do censor a lot. I don't want to get strikes on your channel. But anyhow, to come back to Michael Jackson. Here, they still continue to do things in tribute to Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson's, I was just telling you about 113. 113 is the number of deception from the Talmud. Michael Jackson's whole death has 113 coded over it in a million different ways. Again, that is the number of deception. But look at what they just did this year on Michael Jackson's birthday. Michael Jackson's born August 29th. And you got brought up Prince too. Prince's brother just died the other year on Michael Jackson's birthday. Again, both those guys were born in 58. But anyway, I'll talk about Prince in a minute too. But on Michael Jackson's birthday this year, the two top stories were Jackson, Mississippi was underwater. And then the other one was there was supposed to be the Artemis 1 launch, the biggest moon mission since forever. And a lot of people didn't notice this about Michael Jackson, but he was born in 58, the same year NASA was born. NASA was established in 58, Michael Jackson born in 58. And Apollo 11 was the moon mission, the supposed moon landing, and that was the same year that Michael Jackson turned 11, which is the master number in numerology. Now, they say, again, this is in the Masonic Museum, this is part of the history. They say at the moon mission that the astronauts who went there were Masons, and they say they brought with them the Scottish Rite of Freemasonry flag to the moon. Now, what's amazing is from Michael Jackson's birthday, August 29th, to the following July 20th, the day of the moon landing, that was 325 days later. If you write out Scottish Rite of Freemasonry, it equals 325. That means that from the moon landing to Michael Jackson's upcoming birthday was 40 days later. If you use numerology, moonwalk equals 40. So does United States, right? So here's like the biggest star there ever was in the world, U.S. born and bred, the moonwalker. And lo and behold, 40 days before his birthday, the moonwalk. Now, look at this. That moon mission was scheduled for Michael Jackson's birthday. and it was initially supposed to return. This is the way they reported it when the news first broke. It was going to launch on Jackson's birthday, and it was going to return on October 10th. If you count October 10th through the last day of the year, December 31st, those are the last 83 days of the year. Do you know what year Michael Jackson first moonwalked in?
Oh, shit. Don't say it.
83?
83. Now, he moonwalked in Motown in Detroit. I call Detroit the 83 city because it's on the 83rd meridian, and Detroit, Michigan equals 83. And I love that number. The Lions, who have struggled to win football games, when my eyes light up for a Lions game, it's when 83 is on the board. Like, for example, Kirk Cousins just lost this week in Detroit, and he became 8-3 versus the Lions for his career, right? 8-3. They were making a big deal on Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving was the Lions' 83rd ever Thanksgiving Day game. And before the game, they played Buffalo this year on Thanksgiving. The big story before the game was the Buffalo shooting, the white supremacist shooter. And if you're even watching the story, they even told the full story like it was the news again. They talked about how the shooter went to the store on the 8th day of March, 8-3. The word murder, for the record, also equals 83, like how the song Murder by Numbers by the Police came out in 83. But again, these things are all number games. That's why my latest book is called Number Games. And again, it's just like, look at what they're doing, man. And nobody, that's what I'm just like, God, the whole, I swear to God, if I had not been so censored in 2016, I was getting a ton of views. And then I got put in the algorithm dungeon and censored and deleted a bunch of times. Now I don't get any views. But back in 2016, I was able to get hundreds of thousands of views. And had that trend and trajectory continue, I feel like the whole world would know about Gematria. And everyone would know about what they just did with the Artemis 1 launch scheduled for Jackson's birthday and meant to return on the day that's the last 83 days of the year. Everyone should see these games they're playing with us. But yeah, for all the people who doubt it, go out there and look it up. You'll see October 10th, 83 days, moonwalking 83. These people don't stop. And probably for as long as we live, they'll probably continue to pay tribute to Michael Jackson with stuff like this. And with regards to Prince, you guys might notice I'm talking about that number 58 a lot. For the record, if you write out Freemasonry, it equals 58. Secret Society, 58. The day of the 58th Grammys, Prince's girlfriend from the time of Purple Rain died, Vanity. And Purple Rain in the same way equals 58. So Purple Rain, 58, Secret Society, 58, Freemasonry, 58. Prince's girlfriend from the time of Purple Rain dies the day of the 58th Grammys. And I put out a video that day, and I said, I started to look at it, and everything coded into her death. It was lining up with Prince. And I said, man, Prince better look out. I think we're going to be reading about Prince here pretty soon. Prince, he'd been at a basketball game recently, and he was looking kind of sickly, too. You might recall he's walking around with the cane. But I said, I think Prince is coming next. And sure enough, what day is Prince dead? Not long after. He's dead on April 21st, the Queen's birthday. And like gentleman just said, Prince had the song I Would Die For You with the number 4 and the letter U. And he recorded that song in 83. He was way ahead of his time writing it that way because there wasn't any cell phones. No one was texting. I can't think of any other song title from that time where they spelled 4 with the number and just wrote U with the letter. But I Would Die For You, used the 21st letter, 421. He dies on 421, the Queen's birthday, Prince, Queen, royalty. And then you might recall the day he died that the news media even had to come out and clarify because they lit up Niagara Falls purple right away. And people are like, whoa, how do you have this tribute to Prince already ready when the news just broke about his death? And the news media said, oh, no. That purple tribute's for the Queen because it's her birthday. But people didn't get it. Vanity was from Niagara Falls. She won all kinds of beauty pageants in Niagara Falls. And again, she's the one who died the day of the 58th Grammys. And now in her hometown, they're lighting it all up on purple on the Queen's birthday, the day that Prince is dead. I'm sure the Queen's birthday was part of the equation, but these are major league rituals. And again, you see through the numbers, you can start to understand what's really going on and why someone like Vanity is dead on that day. And that year, the Grammys fell on February 15th, which was the 46th day of the year. again, a lot of this stuff is biblical. If you look up Genesis 46, it begins with a sacrifice, and the word sacrifice itself has a gematria 46. So on the 46th day, Vanity's dead, and next thing you know, Prince is dead. So,
Wow.
Man, what do you do for fun?
Yo,
Like, do you ride bikes? Like what do you do to like clear your mind?
I feel like it's hard for you to just do shit. Cause like you'd be like, yo, if you fell off your bike, I feel like yo, I'd be like, this is the 46th time I fell.
yeah. Well, you know, honestly, man, that's a depressing question for me because I think about when I was younger and I used to have fun and spend a lot of time with my friends and be active and go out and do things. And I used to be very active. I'd be at the gym every day, playing sports, rec basketball, rec football, rec softball. You know, going out, going on hikes. I mean, I used to have a lot of fun when I was younger. That's also part of something that happened to me. It was just days before my 30th birthday. I turned 30 in 2013. It was July 2013. I was playing softball that whole day. I had a beer league softball that I played, and I remember I was actually done with my own games, but another team, one of their players was out, and they asked if I would play for them that day. And normally I play the infield. I play shortstop, third base. They wanted me to play outfield, which was fine. But I remember I made a nice play. I made a nice catch, and then the guy didn't think I was going to get to the ball. And then so I was trying to double him up. I actually did double him up on the play, but I ruined my arm in the process. But he was trying to get back to the bag, and I was trying to throw him out from the outfield. And, you know, I'd been throwing the ball, and it was like a softball tournament that day. So I'd been playing ball all day and, you know, out in the sun and drinking beers, which probably dehydrate the body. But anyway, on the throw, I felt the snap in my shoulder. I never felt that before. But then I realized like I didn't have movement in my shoulder, and like I couldn't even get like my jersey or my I didn't have insurance at the time actually, so I never really got it checked out for a while. I was needed help to get my shirt on and everything, but anyhow, because I injured myself, all of a sudden I found that I couldn't play sports. I couldn't go to the gym like I was used to, and it got me looking into. I ended up picking up the book or reading about Manly P. Hall's The Secret Teachings of All Ages while I was injured. And it was in that period of time that I was injured that I discovered Gematria. And ever since I've been doing this research, I really have been having a lot less fun. And I have been busy, man, because if you guys have seen my books, they're big. I mean, I've been working and writing and researching. And in a way, I wish I could go back and I don't know, man. I mean, I guess people appreciate that I found this knowledge and put it out there, but my life used to be a lot more fun before that transition. So
for everybody out there who are new, like us, please, the website is right there at GematriaEffectNews, and go buy his books. Don't buy them shits, please. Like, this is something that you can really get knowledge about, man. This is awesome.
Or I appreciate everyone who buys the book. Almost everyone downloads it for free now because that's what happens to make it free. I don't mind if anybody downloads it. Like if you're out there and you're listening, you're like, I'm not sure, I'm skeptical. Download the book and just start to read it. And then if you really like it, go out and buy the physical version because you never know when your computer is going to get shut off and everything will be censored from the web. I've already lost. I mean, I have an old blog up that when I started it in 2013, that website wasn't owned by Google, but Google's bought that platform. And now as time goes on, they're constantly deleting more and more posts from that site. And it's so frustrating to me. It's like, oh my God, you guys go back and delete my post from 2014. I mean, that's a historical record. But that's why you want things in print, because this stuff that's in the digital world, it can be here today and it can be gone in 5 minutes from now. So.
So then when it comes to, you know, the censoring and all that stuff, how do you feel about like Elon Musk and what he's doing with Twitter?
He's the biggest Jesuit puppet there is, man. It's just okay. If you go back to God, what year was it now? Was it 2020? I think it was January 7th, 2020 that he was declared the richest man in the world. That's the day in history that Nikola Tesla died, right? Nikola Tesla. So the day that Nikola Tesla died, he's declared the richest man in the world. Now what's messed up is it was the 78-year anniversary of Tesla's death. And in Gematria, Tesla equals 78, like Jesuit. When he made his offer to buy Twitter, it was, well, he offered $54 a share on April 14th. And April 14th is a notorious day in history. It's the day Lincoln was shot. It's the day the Titanic hit the iceberg. But if you just use the alphabetic order, Jesuit order is 144. If you use the alphabetic order with numerology, Jesuit order is 54. So on 14/4, he offers $54 a share. The word censorship also equals 144 and 54. One of his first big things when he comes back is he reinstates Trump 144 days after his birthday, and Trump's Jesuit educated. So, again, I've been documenting just, like Elon Musk just got booed off stage at the Dave Chappelle thing this weekend. Do you guys see that headline?
Yeah, I saw that.
Okay, so that just happened on Dave Chappelle's 110th day of his age. Elon Musk and Dave Chappelle, just using the alphabetic order, both equal 110. And if you read my latest book, Number Games, I talk about Dave Chappelle in there and how because you might recall George Floyd, they said they were on George Floyd's neck for 8 minutes and 46 seconds initially. And then Dave Chappelle came out and said, man, that's weird because I was born at 8:46. You guys remember that? He did a special called 8:46.
Yeah, I remember that. That was on Netflix, I believe, right?
I think it was Netflix. It was out there.
Yeah, I remember that.
But yeah, I was just pointing out there's a lot to it, but Minnesota also equals 110 like Dave Chappelle. And of course that happened in Minnesota. And there's a whole lot more. I mean, I have a giant chapter on the whole George Floyd thing in that same book, and Kobe's death's covered in that book in a giant way. And man, you go back and look, the day that George Floyd news broke, they were showing a woman holding a Justice for George Floyd sign in a Lakers jacket. And, of course, the Lakers are originally from Minneapolis. Minnesota's the land of 10,000 lakes. But, for people who don't know, Kobe died at age 41. Kobe Bryant equals 41. He died on the 41st day of the Pope's age while traveling from Catholic Mass. And then the Lakers did end up winning the championship that year. And they won it exactly 41 weeks after LeBron's birthday on a mini holiday known as Father-Daughter Day after Gianna and Kobe die. Kobe was 41. The daughter was 13. If you take the letters LA equals 13 forwards. L's the 12th letter, A's the first, 13. You run the alphabetic order in reverse. LA equals 41. A's the 26th letter, L's the 15th, 41. So 41 and 13 in LA. And for people who don't know, that when LeBron went to the Lakers on July 1st, coming over from Ohio, the 17th state, I said, just watch. LeBron's going to win the Lakers their 17th championship in his 17th season, which is exactly what he did. And then they tied the Celtics. NBA ends the 14th letter. B's the second, A's the first, 17. Again, Ohio's the 17th state. You just had Baker Mayfield, who started out in Cleveland, come to LA and win his debut game with 17 points, with 17 on his back. Odell Beckham last year. Odell Beckham got traded from Cleveland to LA. He got treated on his birthday. He got traded on his 29th birthday. Okay, get this. If you write out Ohio and if you write out football and use alphabetic order with numerology, Ohio and football equal 29. Ohio's the birthplace of football. Odell gets traded on his 29th birthday, which is the day leaving 56 days left in the year, to the Rams before winning Super Bowl 56. And where did the Rams franchise start out at? You guys know where the Rams franchise started?
Was it St. Louis?
Nuh-uh.
No? There was a city before St. Louis?
Cleveland.
Oh,
the Rams are from Cleveland. What? Yeah, the Rams are originally from Cleveland. So that was part of the joke of sending Odell from Cleveland to LA the year of Super Bowl 56. And but again, the point I'm making is they just keep paying tribute to like these cities and this history. And again, I mean, that's part of, I mean, how many NFL fans do even realize that the Rams were ever in Cleveland? Because that was way back in the day. I mean, a lot of people would think the answer was St. Louis, because of course they've been there in more recent history, but they started in Cleveland.
36 to 42.
Yeah, 1936 to 42.
So like the athletes and entertainers, is this like in their contracts or something that they have to follow the script? Like, what part of sports is freaking real at this point? Because that's the part where I'm confused. Because now, if all of that happens, right? Like, is Odell like aware?
Yeah.
Like, are these athletes and entertainers oblivious to this stuff?
they don't necessarily have to know what's going on, right? I mean, if they're out there just following, coach's orders, and some people on the field know. How many people on the team know besides, like, you can never convince me that these quarterbacks aren't in on it, that they're the highest paid guys on the field. And I mean, it really only takes the quarterback to throw the game, Go back to Russell Wilson not handing the ball to Marshawn Lynch. One of my favorite numerical rituals of all time. The date was February 1st.
That shit was so stupid.
All right, look at this. It was February 1st. Russell Wilson's 21st pass on the down 2nd and 1 gets intercepted by number 21, right? And what's the other? I'm forgetting something. I think Brady might have got his 21st playoff win in that game, winning that Super Bowl. I think that's the other 21 I'm missing. But all of those 21s on 2nd and 1 on 2-1. And then they interviewed the man who made the interception, and he said, I was ready for it because we were practicing that play all week. And it's like, well, wait a minute. Why would you even practice that scenario at all? Because the announcer told it to you right after it happened. The announcer said, man, that was the first time all year the Seahawks passed on the 1-yard line. And why had they not passed on the 1-yard line all year? Because they got Marshawn Lynch, who's always good for a yard. You could not stop that guy. And again, they didn't need to pass right there. There was still time on the clock. They had a timeout. It was 2nd and 1. So again, he comes out and blurts out that they were practicing that play all week. It's like, why would you spend your whole week practicing for a scenario that was super unlikely to happen? But yeah, again, I mean, I'm amazed that fans don't catch on to the rituals. My favorite Tom Brady Super Bowl ritual, there's a lot to pick from, really, but my favorite one, this is why I wish they never deleted my channel. I'd tell you guys to go look at the video because it would probably have millions of views by now. But the day of the Super Bowl, it had like 150,000 views by halftime. And it had like 30,000 comments, and nearly every comment was about what a moron I was because I guaranteed Brady would win the Super Bowl over the Falcons, and it would be all about 25. And you might recall he got down 25 points in that game before winning. The date was February 5th for that Super Bowl. Falcons equals 25. They moved the touchback that year from the 20-yard line to the 25-yard line. And why did they do that season? That was the 97th NFL season, which is the 25th prime. So the reason I can't believe that everyone didn't see through the NFL after that Super Bowl is because I still remember how it was. The Falcons were up 8 points. I was feeling like a moron. I was reading all the comments. I was like, man, because it was looking like it was over. The Falcons were up 8 points. Julio Jones catches the long pass from Matt Ryan to set up 1st and 10 with about like 4.5 minutes left. And they're down near the Patriots' 20-yard line. It's like, okay, run the ball a few times, milk as much time off the clock, kick a field goal. You're up 11 points, and maybe the Patriots are going to have 2.5 minutes to work with in a 2-score game. I mean, anybody could have coached the Falcons to the win in that scenario. But instead, what do? What do they do instead? Instead of running the ball and milking the clock, it's like Matt Ryan drops back the pass and throws an incomplete pass. And you're like, what? And then the next pass is he takes like a sack for like a loss of 10. So now it's like 3rd and 20. And then he takes another sack. Or no, excuse me. It ended up being 3rd and 33. There might have been a holding penalty in there. But if you go back and look at the box score, they literally got to 3rd and 33. And they didn't use any time off the clock. And then they end up punting the ball. And you're just like, come on, man. Like, how? Who is coaching? I mean, the guys paid $9 million to coach NFL, and you're in the Super Bowl in the driver's seat to win. You start to look at all of Brady's Super Bowls. They're all a joke. I mean, it all started back with the Tuck rule and the Raiders, which didn't make any sense. He fumbled. They should have been out of the playoffs. But again, it's because it's all ritual. 9/11, Patriot Act, Patriots nonstop ever since. And some of his rituals, though, have just been absurd. So
thank you for pointing this out, because I've been trying to say Tom Brady was in for a long time now, and I feel like you've been you've definitely
You just took it to a different level.
What you mean?
I can tell you more about Tom Brady's scripted career. One of our best calls for futures was.
Wait till I go to the sports bar after this.
Yeah, Zach, I do have a question to ask you.
Yeah.
I feel like there has to be a part 2 to this.
Yeah, I'm happy to come back. I always like sharing this information with new audiences. So yeah,
I
that's
feel like
fine.
you have so much more that you gotta give us.
Bro, I've watched a ton of his videos and I still feel like I don't know shit. Like, honestly, bro. Like obviously some things can roll off the tongue, but like I still feel like I don't know shit.
Like you've had us in suspense, you had us in awe, you had us in just like pure, just wanting to listen. Like, and there's not a lot of people that can really get 3 of us to shut the fuck up. But and I seen in the comments you haven't smiled this much in a long time, so I feel like you're having a great time too.
Yeah, you guys are good guests. I appreciate, or not guests, good hosts, man. I appreciate having this conversation with you guys. So,
we do need to do this again. Whenever you're free.
Absolutely. We can come back and talk more about sports or whatever. I mean, seriously, you guys, I can sit here and talk about this subject for, like, if I had to, I could probably talk for 48 straight hours because there's just so much to share about this topic. Yeah, it's a topic where there's just more and more information, more and more rituals taking place every day. There's always more to talk about.
I've seen 2 things that I know it's going to take us a long time, so I don't know if we should do it now because it's almost 12 o'clock and everybody has to go to work tomorrow. I want to, for the next time, I want to know about the Kobe ritual. Somebody said it in there, and there was another one that they said that you got to tell us about the Kobe ritual.
I think someone said 9/11, but we
it was Kobe, and then Kobe ritual. And the 2-on Bama championship game ritual.
Oh, there's been a lot of Alabama rituals over the years, that's for sure. So okay.
Yeah, man. This is gonna. I honestly don't even want to talk. I just want to listen.
Yeah.
like I don't even want to. I just want to listen. Like it's insane. Like I haven't wanted to shut up ever.
Well, I appreciate that. I'll take that as a compliment. But yeah, like you said, it is almost midnight where you are. So you know what? Just next time we do an interview, just help with some questions, things you thought about. And yeah, I'm happy to answer those questions.
Do we really have to come up with questions? Because I feel like you're just going to give us everything we need. It's gonna be a gem no matter what. Like we could just, what does this mean?
You got me on that one.
Should I bet on the Bills, the Chiefs, or the Cowboys?
So here, I'll tell you something about that. Okay. So the Bills, they're named after Buffalo Bill. Oh man, you guys said something. Well, let's save that for the next interview because this is another big topic. There's a lot I can say about that. So we'll do it again soon. You guys let me know when you want me to come back on, and we'll have lots.
I got one last question.
There we go.
You spoke a little bit earlier about the fun that you used to have when you were a little bit younger and you were more into sports and things like that. So my question now, at this age, at this stage in your life, do you find joy in proving these or showcasing these patterns? Like, is this fun for you? Do you get joy out of this? If not, where do you try to find joy?
Well, I got a really nice lady in my life, and her and I have enough fun together. What's nice is she's a hard worker too. So she's working a lot, but when she's not working and I'm not working, we go out and we do something. So I mean, I still have some fun in my life, not as much as I used to, but yeah, I do get joy out of sharing the information, and it's always nice to interact with new people. And like I said, I've always liked teaching. So in a way, I feel like I'm still sort of teaching. I do miss being in a classroom with actual students. But I do get enjoyment out of this.
I mean, you could always come to my classroom if you ever want to make a comeback.
Zach, can you? By the way, I forgot to say this before. Your last name is Hubbard. That's my family's last name too. My stepdad is Hubbard, so it might be related. I don't know.
You never know. Technically, I don't have a bloodline to that name because my dad's adopted. He doesn't know who his real dad is. His adoptive father's name's Hubbard. So
See, my dad is black, so we might be good.
That's so fucking stupid.
But Zach, can you please tell them where they can find you for the other people who are not that don't know where your anything is at? Can you just let them know?
Yeah, you got to know how to spell that word Gematria. GEM, like Gem, @ AT, and then RIA, kind of like the sporting goods store. Gematria. GematriaEffectNews is my website.
He had an E at the end of it.
Yeah, we spelled it wrong. Sorry.
It's fixed.
We fixed it.
Well, it's okay. I mean, nobody's ever heard of that word before. So my website, GematriaEffectNews, if you search that on YouTube, you'll find the YouTube channels. I'm constantly creating new channels because I get deleted a lot. I got a Twitter, GematriaEffectNews. If you search my name as well, Zachary K. Hubbard, that's another way to find me. Just type out Zachary K. Hubbard. That should take you to my page. If you're looking for my book, if you search on Amazon, Zachary K. Hubbard, you'll find the book. So.
Good. You got anything else?
I just want to say thank you for coming on, because I was telling them before we went live, I've reached out to people that I personally know and they said yes and haven't shown up yet. I don't know you from shit. I just watch your videos and you've gotten on this shit very fast. So thank you for taking the time to come out and be on the podcast. I appreciate that.
Well, you're welcome. And thanks for inviting me. I was saying before, it's been a while before anybody. I mean, I used to get a lot of invites to do interviews, but it's been a long time since anybody invited me to do a show. So I was happy to be invited.
Well, you part of the 40 Central family now, so you can come here anytime you want.
Yeah, you just want to be like, yo, hey, listen, I got something to say. You could listen. We'll send you the link
or something to predict.
Oh yeah,
if you wanna,
that'd be cool.
Yeah, if you wanna
awesome.
come on here, if you wanna just talk or predict something, or even just vent about, because we just talk to each other just as men. I think it's important for us to do that. So if at any point in time, man, please feel free to reach out to us. You're locked in with 40 Central forever now.
Yes.
You're in it for life, Holmes.
I appreciate
that. Please, everybody that's out there, subscribe, like our page. He will be back. Hopefully, you guys talk and get that situated. I would rather sooner than later. I would tell you to come back Thursday. I'm cool with that.
You can fly out to wherever you
want. We can fly out tomorrow. But you know what I do want to do? Whenever we do meet up, I do want to get a drink with you and just have like a real conversation at the bar and talk, because you seem like you're a really, really cool dude. But outside of all this, I feel like all of us would just get along, man. Like it's cool.
Well, I told the people in Buffalo that if the Bills end up in the Super Bowl, I'm coming back out to New York. I was in New York twice this past year. I went out there for the top shooting, and I was out in New York for the anniversary of 9/11. But I did tell the community that I'll be back if the Bills are in the Super Bowl to talk about again what they really did there. And if that happens, I'll definitely be coming to New York City as well. So.
Oh, okay, New York City as well. Okay, I was about to say, because Buffalo, not New York.
No, I know it's a long drive. Because I just drove all the way out there. I drove from Seattle all the way out to New York City, and I was like, man, Buffalo and New York, that's like a 6.5 hour drive. So
that's it.
Yeah, well, yeah, because Syracuse is like good.
No, from Seattle to us is only 6.5 hours.
No, from Buffalo to New York's like 6.5 hours. From Seattle's like 40 hours.
Hey, hold on, wait, that's it? Nah, hold on.
I didn't realize how big New York was until I was out there. It is a big state.
Yeah.
This is fucking huge.
Yeah. We the Northern Texas.
We the what?
The Northern Texas.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
But thank you. Do you have anything else to say?
Nah, man. Again, I just want to extend like gratitude and thanks for you coming on, being super responsive to the invite, coming on here. And just speaking your truth and being, true to who you are and your mission, and giving us your backstory, just opening us up to your world, opening your world up to us. I'm sorry. And, we hope that this isn't our last time. This is not going to be our last time linking together. And like we said earlier, if there's anything, or even people in the comments, like if you got a story to tell, if you have something you want to share, if you want to come up here and and talk as well, like just hit us up on 40 Central on the Instagram page, or you can email us at 40centralpodcast@gmail.com. We pride ourselves on being open-minded and allowing people to come on here to talk about what they do and their story and what they want to give to the world. And we try to be as open-minded as possible here.
Very cool. Yeah, I'll definitely be back. I really appreciate you guys having me on. Thank you.
Anything else that you want to say before you go?
No, I'll be back. So there'll be lots more to talk about.
Here
next
it
time.
is.
Let's go. Yeah. I had a very, very, very great time today, man.
I told y'all this was gonna be a good one.
You
man.
did say
I've
that.
been saying it for a minute.
I just want to
say
thank you. I don't know if we could thank you enough, but thank you, because this was amazing.
Welcome.
Do you haven't does Gematria have a theme song?
we usually play
We were
music.
trying to put some songs together
Put on,
for
right.
Gematria, but we could use a theme song. We don't have one yet.
I'm an
Well, we have an artist
I'm
right
an
here.
artist.
Right here. He
I might
raps.
make a Gematria rap song. I ain't even gonna lie. I might do it.
We wanted to make one because we gotta put it up. We didn't know what to play. We what you said?
Oh, I didn't say. I said Slipknot got a song called
No.
Gematria. but
No, what did you say?
Oh, I said I don't know if like Gematria has like a theme song, like for example, like conservatives, like a Red Kingdom MAGA song. And that. Like I don't know if Gematria got a theme song. Like,
Oh man!
Thank you, everybody out there. And by the way, everybody who is listening, like I said, please subscribe and like and all that. But next time he comes up here, right? We're gonna try to have fans call in and ask you a question if that's okay with you. Let's bring it into your audience, because as I've read a lot of things that come in, a lot of people really love what you do. And besides the trolls, yeah. But we
Yeah, I
can
got lots of
have
trolls.
like yeah, whatever. Listen, if you don't got haters, you ain't doing what you gotta do. What is it? Yeah, man, you good. But we're gonna make it a little bit more interesting next time too, when you guys can come up here and y'all can ask him a question, because I know a lot of people over here are trying to get to you in some type of way, and they love what you're doing, and we do too. So let's make it very good the next time. And the next time we are not starting as late as possible. We're gonna start earlier because I need as much time what we could get with you as possible. That's what we got.
Okay, yeah, we'll start a little bit earlier next time. So
Yes.
Got you.
Yes.
Got you.
okay, sounds good.
We're gonna play some music. Thank you. JT will get to you and he'll hit you up, and let's set something up as soon as possible.
Sounds good. All right, gentlemen, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Sir. Thank you.
All right, have a good night, all. Thank you.
Everybody in the chat, please give them a round of applause, give them clapping hands, give them love, give them all that shit. Go follow everything, man. Thank you guys.
Put some fire emojis in the chat.
Fire emojis in the chat, man.
All right, appreciate it, guys. Have a good night. Thank you.
Have a good night.
Good night.
All right.
That was a very, very, very good one. Everybody who's still in the chat, man, we appreciate y'all. Please like and subscribe.
Yes, we are almost at our first 1K.
Yes,
We are almost at our first 1K.
I seen a lot of y'all out there. Oh yeah, they only had this many views, but man, look, y'all brought that shit right up, almost to 100, man, and we're thankful for that. Do that every week.
Yeah, I know, right?
Do that every week.
You know, for the right, we'll be here on Thursday.
Yeah, we'll be here Thursday.
Stick around.
We'll be here Thursday. Like this says, Amy, thank you. Open up, thank you. Everybody who's subscribing to us, thank you. We appreciate it. Our content might not be for everybody, but we talk about everything. And if you guys like what y'all hear, please come back and send it to somebody, that everybody share it, and let's create this community. We are open-minded individuals where we can sit down and talk about anything like that. No judge. And like JT said before, if any one of you guys out there that has a talent or has something, a story to tell, we are open to hear and talk to us. Please reach out to any one of us on the podcast, and we will get back to you, and we will set it up. And even if you just want to come and talk some shit, you can do that too.
Yeah, and I love the suggestion, making Zach a weekly guest. If he's for it, shoot.
Shit.
Nah, I ain't gonna lie, that'll go crazy.
Hey, we here. We here. That's something that we'll definitely pitch the idea to him. Shit, if you all can pitch the idea to him too, hit him up and let him know, like, hey, you guys should make this a weekly thing. At the end of the day, the people, it's always come down to the people. If enough people say it, if enough people get behind an idea, it will come into fruition. So,
guys, I want to ask y'all a question real quick. Did y'all enjoy the interview? Yes or no? We want to know how good did y'all enjoy the interview? Besides the trolls, I seen some trolls in there.
No, I seen the trolling.
Yeah. I wasn't paying attention to
I
them.
always see that in his stream.
I like
so
that,
I was just
though.
like,
I like that.
Bro, he was the stream I went on to like give him the info and shit to set it up. It was some dude just calling in, talking mad. Bro was talking like he was the Joker or some shit. Just mad weird, bro. He probably watching.
But I like that.
All lives matter, right?
I like that though.
Nah, but he was just saying dumb shit, and then at the end he was like, "I'm trolling you, Zach," and I'm just like, bro, why are you like wasting this man's time? It's probably some kid.
But even though you're
kid.
trolling, you're still watching.
Nah,
you're still
I get
listening.
it, but it's just
You're
like you don't
getting
got
to watch
more
time.
constructive things to do with your time, type shit. Like that just be my thing.
It was
bro.
nice to see him happy. That's glad. I'm glad we made him happy. I'm glad we made all of you guys happy also.
Yes.
It was actually a really great time.
I got the song queued up.
What song is
Slumber Number. It's a Gematria rap.
Nah, that's real.
Oh, someone got
Yes. No, somebody put it in the chat. I looked it up.
Oh, somebody put it in the chat?
Yeah.
Whoever
Number.
put that in the chat, man, we appreciate y'all. We about to play that.
This is
Let's just see.
Bamboo Soldier.
Who?
Bamboo Soldier. I'm gonna actually subscribe to the page right now. Bamboo Soldier. Slumber Number. Gematria rap. Yeah, it's queued up whenever y'all ready.
We ready. Let's play that. We about to play Gematria rap.
Let's get it.
Let's go.
Big up CH Gematria. It's one the Bamboo Soldier.
Let us know if you can hear it in the
1,
comments.
2, 3, 4, 5. They don't want us to be alive. A, B, C, D, E. We need more unity. Young to old, don't see what the real math is. Keep us on the couch, depressed and distracted. Wickedness. Bless up. Steeped doing slumber, a trap that's made of numbers. Parasites, wickedness, vampires, white collar politics, and liars. Big clubs, sipping blood, lead to Rome, the Jesuits. It's a game, it's a show. Words scheming to control. Created to the end of days. While we idolize fakes, get paid. While the youth are led astray. Full of hearts and soul, keep the mind in a maze. Scrub the facts and history, tortured up in a blaze. In plain sight, trolling a mockery from the Cosby's last name to Slave and Tuskegee. Ducks in a line, Tanner with the number 30. Throw them stones, swing them sticks. Astro sacrifice Houston with the 46. Devil's Matrix, sipping wine, FU kiss. Stolen knowledge, pirate Freemason with the 96. Murder music built on the radio. 144 Jizzy.
Nah, he's spitting bars. This is
Oh,
kind of like
he's in here though.
this is like Blueface. It's a lot of shit you got to get off, so you got to take the Blueface
1, 2, 3,
approach.
4, 5. They don't want us to get out the line.
I get you. Yeah.
Because I'm like listening to it. He's actually saying like a lot of
We need more
like
unity.
during the verse.
You learning a lot of shit.
Not gonna lie to you, he's been here
Young
for
to old, don't see what
beginnings
the
too,
real
man.
math
I
is.
appreciate
Keep
you,
us on the
man.
couch,
I appreciate
depressed and
you.
distracted.
I appreciate everybody in here, man. Please come back and just on Thursday we will
They have
be
more
here
than
live
60
again.
fixes. You can see for more than 56s. Steeped in stew and slumber. It's a trap that's made of numbers. Bless up.
You got he has no real equipment, but it's without no real equipment and all that stuff, man. You doing your thing, man. Keep on doing it.
Sound better with an engineer.
Yeah, you need an engineer. That'd be great. That would be great, man. Anybody want to hit us up on Instagram? Please follow us too, man. Follow all our social medias. You'll get all of us on 40Central on Instagram, and we listen. I'm not bougie. Neither one of us is bougie. We will follow you back. We'll follow you guys back, man. We love y'all. Anything else you got to say before we get out of here?
Nah, I'm good. Great episode, man. For real.
Awesome, man. A fun episode.
Yeah, and shout out to you, man, for putting this together.
Yes.
Nah, yeah.
Yeah, that's a big deal, man. To take getting that, linking that, and hooking it up, and having the, you know how people be like, how can I explain it? I
Marcus,
don't know.
appreciate you. Marcus, appreciate you, man.
The word, like they don't want to ask people or like, I don't know what that is, but for you to do that and, you know, like to put your pride aside and be like, yo, like pull up to our podcast and let the people hear what you got to say. Shout out to you for doing that.
No, yeah. Hey, bro, I thought it was dope information. So, shit, anything I think is dope that I think is legit. I mean, I told conspiracy, so it is what it is. But, you know, I just thought it was shit like people should hear because shit, if you could win, you could even benefit off of it if you can win sports games from it. So like
Facts. I'm about to wait. He gonna let me know. He gonna let me know who's gonna win the fucking championship this year. That shit. I'm about to put the house on it. Yo, Bamboo. First of all, listen, man. And I know there are more times than us out there. You doing what you gotta do, no matter what, man. People like it. You like it. Everybody, whatever. That's all that matters, man. Continue to do what you love.
Man, when the hood find out about this, boy.
Oh man,
bro, this is what I was saying. I was
find out about betting on this shit.
Oh, nah, but I was saying
boy.
when the hood found out about this too, this is gonna ruin all them barbershop conversations that people was saying, no, he's the greatest. He's the greatest. Nigga,
Nah,
that's like saying
change.
The Rock is the greatest. He's supposed to be. They wrote it that way. Like it's gonna ruin all of them conversations, all of them, everything you argued with your homeboy about down the drain. It wasn't real.
Yep.
Nah,
Facts.
this is that. Listen, he had me thinking about like my life. So no funny shit. There was a point in time when he kept talking, and I'm like, damn, what the fuck are we gonna be in this shit? Like where the fuck? What are we gonna be? Like, what number is gonna be? What does 40Central mean?
I was gonna go there too. I wanted to ask him about that.
Yeah, I just like in my mind was like, where the fuck does this go from everything that we got going on with us and how we gonna create shit and how it's been so much better this year in general, this ending of the year, like what the fuck is gonna happen? And my mind was going crazy and was like, yo, where do we go from here? Like are we destined for something? And if we are, then I appreciate it, but honestly, I don't even want to know that truth. Because I just want it to come naturally.
Justin down like the rabbit hole right now.
Hell yeah, I was going crazy. I was sitting there like I was fucking going crazy in my head the whole time, bro.
We got another record recommendation.
We got another record recommendation. What we playing?
This King Rhino, Grand Deception.
Never heard of it. I'm gonna put everybody's Instagram in the comments. Please go. Go ahead. I'm gonna put everybody's Instagram in the comments. Please follow us, please.
Your vision should get clearer. Am I right? You are a tool in the hidden hand that's using you. Please don't be delusional. The rulers of this world practice confusing you. The people and the priests and the imams have been jammed by government scams. Minds systematically programmed. Blatant black hatred and racism. The way they lace the whole world and nation with traces of Satanism. This place is a pagan prison. The founding fathers enslaving intentions with no different than Bush's and Reagan's visions. 1776 it took action. This Illuminati took form and was spawned from a Colombian faction. Just flip your $1 bill over. And if you want me to expose the true code of deception, I will show you. We live in a design system. The number 13 is consistent in Masonic symbolism. It represents transformation. 12 completes a cycle, so 13 is rebirth and regeneration. The meanings of the symbol are strategically hid. On the left side, you see a 13-layered pyramid. Over that sits the all-seeing eye where the light shines. A sign of the devil watching over you at all times. The words Anna would correct this. 13 letters meaning he has favored our undertakings. Will you accept this? Or will you learn the science and ignore them? Under the pyramid you see Novus Ordo Seclorum. Translated New Order of the World or the New World Order. Authors and satanic fathers of mass slaughter. The eagle that you see on the right sits below 13 stars with a shield that has 13 stripes and an olive branch in his claws with 13 leaves, which is supposed to be in his talent to represent peace. But peace was always on a decrease. His other claw holds 13 arrows of war set yet to be released. And the letters at the bottom of the pyramid are fixed with the
That was K Rhino Grand Deception. Make sure you go listen to that. Make sure you go listen to that.
I was fucking with it.
Bow, bow, bow,
I
bow,
was fucking with it.
bow.
All right, man. Well,
It's midnight.
It's
broke night.
It was a great night. It was a great night.
Well worth it though.
Very well worth it. Very well worth it. Please, guys. We'll see you guys Thursday, and we will see you guys when Zach come back.
Yes, yes.
Hopefully that is absolutely real soon.
It's cool. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification button as well. So that way you can get the notification when we go back live on Thursday. We'll be here Thursday, 9 p.m. And yeah, hopefully we get Zach back on sooner than later.
Follow me on Instagram too.
It was great talking with you all. Thank you so much. I don't understand how much this means to our platform. Thank you so much for rocking with us. For those who are on Eastern Standard Time, rocking with us past midnight. For those who are not on Eastern Standard Time, rocking with us for the whole pod or even the duration of the pod. Thank you so much. This is the most views we had in one sitting all year. So this is a major way, great way to close out the 2022.
Matter of fact, before we go, wherever y'all from, put that shit in the chat right now. We're gonna shout y'all out right now. We're gonna shout everybody out, man. We got 5 more minutes. 5 more minutes. Put where y'all watching from. All that shit. We're gonna shout y'all. We're gonna give y'all a round of applause for being here. We're gonna give y'all gunshots. We're gonna give you something. Just put that shit in the chat, man. Let's go.
Let's go. Vegas in the building. Let's go.
Yeah. Oh, Cali in the building.
Cali.
Oh, yeah, man.
We might have something special for Cali.
Orlando in the building. Open up. What up?
Here it is.
Let's go.
Let's go. Orlando in the building.
We gotta go back to the O. We gotta go back to the O.
Always something.
O's lit. O's lit. We here in Miami soon.
Maryland in the building. Let's go. Tennessee.
What was that?
You gotta always sing Tennessee.
You said that note. First of all, the only Tennessee I was getting is Tennessee whiskey. That's my favorite fucking
But you
song.
gotta, anytime you say the word Tennessee, you have to sing it. That's like a state thing.
Is it?
No, I just
Could have fooled me. I'm
from New York.
Tennessee.
We got Vegas. We got Cali. We got Orlando. San Fran.
Queens,
Maryland.
get the money.
Okay. We're from the Bronx ourselves.
Yeah, we are in the Bronx. Oh, you from Queens though?
Yes.
Oh, Left Rack City. All right. Zay was just saying some shit about that shit the other day too.
Yeah, that does not sound like a place I need to go. Left Rack City. Shout out to Queens though.
Zach is back.
He's in the building.
Zach is back.
Hey.
Hold on.
He pulled back up like 4-5 Jordan.
Just as you guys are sports fans, I had to come back and point something out. We were just talking about when Brady won the Super Bowl in Arizona over the Seahawks, when Russell Wilson didn't hand off. That was Super Bowl 49. And look at what just happened to the Cardinals on Monday Night Football. Oh, hold on. How come I'm getting feedback? Oh, that's my bad. My bad, guys. The Cardinals fell to 4-9 tonight, right? And gentleman earlier was pointing out how 33 is the number on Monday Night Football, like Brady's comeback last week with 33 points. If you take the letters M and F, M is the 13th letter, N's the 14th, F is the 6th, it's 33. Every week what we're looking for, because for people who don't know, like I've been doing the sports decoding thing. There's a lot of people who follow me for sports picks. But I love the Patriots tonight because the Patriots just got their 33rd all-time win in NFL Week 14, and the Cardinals just got their 33rd all-time loss in NFL Week 14. So that means their record all-time in NFL Week 14. But we're always looking for the 33s on Monday Night Football. We're always looking for the 35s on Thursday, and we win week after week when we can find these patterns. So if the 33 lines up, that's the way we're going on Monday Night Football. Tonight, the Patriots beat the Cardinals 27-13. And again, also, you look for little bonus things too, like dropping to 4-9, just like how the Patriots won Super Bowl 49 in Arizona. But again, for the people who are new out there and skeptics, I'll give you some clues right now. Those 2 ciphers I told you, the alphabetic order with numerology, those are the most important ciphers in decoding sports. If you go on the website, statmuse.com, that website has like every pro sports stat you could ever think if you ask the right questions. Like if you type in, what's the Cardinals' all-time record in NFL Week 14? Before the game, you would have saw they were on 32 losses. If you would have asked the question for the Patriots, you would have saw they were on 32 wins. So I go through a number of categories each week looking for where they hide the 35 for Thursday night football. Where's the 33 at for Monday night football? The majority of time, those patterns hit in those specific games. And the reason we found these things out was just years and years of looking at it. So for people who don't appreciate it, realize we looked at this stuff for a long time before we locked into these patterns. But then we started to realize, like, look at that. Every week, 35's falling on Thursday. Oh, look at that. It's 30. It's all about 33 on Monday Night Football. Week after week, you'll see the same types of patterns persist. So I just wanted to come back on and share that with you since we were just talking about the Patriots Super Bowl. Of course, Brady's not there, but they're still paying tribute to the same numbers.
Damn. Sheesh. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, well, he came back and was like, yo, let me make sure I tell y'all this shit right now.
Indeed.
That's crazy. The people were, go ahead.
I was just going to say, just since it was fresh and just right there. But again, for people, but before I come back next time, for people who just want to start looking, for all you sports fanatics, statmuse.com, start looking up stats, start looking at the Gematria team names, cities. You'll see the way these patterns are very redundant. I mean, I can't tell you how many times over the years we've been talking about 33 on Monday Night Football this week after week. So anyhow.
The people want to see you have a segment on this show.
We gotta have the private conversation.
Yeah, I was just telling you what the people were saying when you were gone.
We gotta have a private conversation after this. WA is not Washington. What is that? Washington.
Yeah, they're in Renton. That's just south of Seattle, Renton. Yeah.
Oh, all right, Washington. I just want to make sure my geography is not all that great. I'm gonna let y'all know right now.
Yeah, that's a suburb of Seattle. So
they want to say thank you, man. Everybody's saying thanks.
Indeed. And yeah, I'm happy to come back. I heard you guys saying Thursday. I'll check in with Sweet Lady if she's cool with me coming back on Thursday, but that should probably work if you guys want to do it that soon.
We have anything Thursday?
I don't remember.
Well, we'll get to you. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
Okay, we'll work it out. But yeah, sounds good. Yeah. All right, gentlemen, just want to come back on and share one more thing while it's current.
No problem.
Appreciate you.
We are leaving too. We have to get out of here, guys. we got caught up talking to everybody who was in the chat, but we have to get out of here. We are leaving too. Let's play a song before we get out of here. Zach, my brother, because we got the same last name now.
All right. Thanks for staying up late, guys.
No problem.
We'll reconnect soon. All right. Have a good night.
Have a good night. Yeah, let's play something for them. Let's play something for them real quick, man. Let's get out of here. Independence names.
Let me get it queued up. Sleeve.
Nah, you gotta play.
Shawty, get me lit.
It's time for us to get lit. We always watch that.
I'm about to go to
recording.
I witnessed this.
What's up?
So excited to
did this in a while.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. We haven't did this in a
This
while.
is the professor. By the manual.
Yeah.
He just left.
My name
He's
is
about to
everybody.
Let's go.
I got a lesson to teach, little boy. Don't test me.
Hey.
If you want smoke, we got 762.
Hey.
Should be protecting and that.
Let's get it.
She said she wanted me to put her in cuffs. She was like many of us.
Let's go.
Headshot. I'ma leave a nigga slumping. We gon' pull up with them sticks and I guarantee you we gon' off and keep thumping. Yeah, fuck it up. Why these niggas keep on running? Yeah, run it up. Turning nothing into something. Here's the aim of the day. Fuck with a little nigga gotta say. Bitch, I got aim, I don't pay. Fuck with the boss and nigga let it spray. Don't let him clown on you, dog. You gon' get clown on the blog. All this clapping, that's a round of applause. Fuck around and send a nigga the mug. So you really wanna do now? Get it looking, shit get too wild. Find out how you gon' move now. Man, I really wish I knew how. Back then, but fuck it, I'm making it happen. Like, what do you mean? Don't got no time for no little niggas yapping. Gotta get to the dream. I know some niggas out here giving the hope, but never just give up your dream. I know some niggas out here that don't see the score. My niggas plotting their scheme. Damn, like what you
Get
mean?
it. Hey!
Don't touch me. If you want me, that's 76 2. She be protecting your neck. She said she wanted to put her in cuffs. She was like, no, you don't ask me. But I don't give her a bitch, but she wants probably why that she don't pass me. Headshot. I'ma leave a nigga slumping. We gon' pull up with them sticks and I guarantee you we gon' often keep dumping. Yeah, fuck it up. Why these niggas keep on running? Yeah, run it up. Turning nothing into something. See, that wasn't too hard.
They not listening. They not
I
listening.
wanted to teach y'all a few.
They not listening.
Yeah.
That was Professor by the manual.
Out of my classroom.
Woo!
Let's go. Love ya. Thank ya. We got one more?
Bro, let's go, bro. Bro, let's go, bro.
All right. We out. We out. Thank you, guys.
It was real.
Bye.